ready, man. Make it rock.
Alright.
Hi,
Second.
Instagram.
Alright, you're live.
We're live. Yay. Garrett's got to get us all set up for the other ones, and then I'll tell you special show tonight.
We're almost there.
Beep, 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 beep.
I mean, you're running. We just have that small latency when we get started.
Okay. All right. So, hi, everybody. Glad you could be here. Dr. Joe Esposito. We got a basketball game on WSB today, so we're going to just do live streaming until the basketball game's over. So we don't know when we're going to go into live radio. So right now, it's just us. So if you have any questions, send them in right now. We probably have about an hour or so, maybe an hour and 20 minutes, where it's just us talking. So if you have any questions, send them in. Tell your friends to tune in. Share this. If you would, share it with us, whatever social media platform you're on, so that we can get more and more folks to follow, because we are the number one, as far as we know, number one health and wellness radio show streaming, and I think on terrestrial radio. If you don't know that word, terrestrial radio is like old-fashioned, this radio, basic standard radio. That's called terrestrial radio. Ooh, pretty neat. So what we're going to talk about today is why I went vegan, because Garrett and I were talking about this before we just found out a few hours ago that we were going to do this. It's like, well, what are we going to talk about? We don't have our usual style. And he says, well, start telling people your story. Tell us why you're vegan and the rationale behind it, and what led me into this world. So what happened was 1985, I guess it was. 86 is when I went vegan. So Christmas Day, 1986, just had an anniversary. So what happened was I was studying on my first degree on nutrition. I have, I think, 4 degrees now in nutrition. And I was working on my BS in clinical nutrition. And I was thinking about what diet makes sense. What eating pattern would be the most logical thing to do? And so I thought about high protein, low protein. I don't think we had the Mediterranean diet back then. It didn't exist. But Dr. Atkins was kind of hot around that area, eating just nothing but meat, losing weight. And the only thing that really made sense to me was a plant-based diet. So I wasn't ready to do that yet, but what happened was I drove back to New Jersey to see my parents, and I drove back to Georgia, and at the time, I was just out of school. I had a practice, and I had very few patients. So what I had to do was I had to deliver pizza to Domino's at night to pay my rent on my office during the day. And of course, my biggest fear was I was going to deliver pizza to a patient and go, hey, Bob, here's your pizza. I'll see you Tuesday at the office. Didn't want your doctor delivering pizza to you. So it was a big concern of mine, actually. And it never happened. But I was so poor that there was a store not far from my house. It's called Metro Grocery. It's not there anymore. And I used to bicycle to Metro Grocery with a newspaper bag. I used to deliver newspapers years ago. And I had my newspaper bag, and I'd load it up with groceries on Tuesdays, because Tuesday was the day that they had discounted groceries, like torn bags of rice, then the cans of beans, whatever it was. And so I started eating this way because I was really broke, and I started feeling really good. And I started thinking, why am I feeling so good? So I started looking at my diet, of course, and I realized that I was so poor, I wasn't able to eat junk food anymore. I was only able to eat good food because it was cheap. And so I started running through my mind, and my first thoughts were, well, I don't know if I could ever give up scallops. I don't know if I could ever give up hamburgers, double beef cheeseburgers, by the way. And I didn't know if I could give up butter. Those are the 3 things I wasn't sure I'd want to give up, and meatballs. And so Christmas Day, 1986, I was home, and came back to Georgia again. And again, I was so poor, I was eating this discounted food, and I was feeling really great. And I decided, this is it. I just can't do this anymore. I just have to go plant-based. It wasn't called plant-based back then. And went vegan. I didn't go vegetarian. I went vegan right away and felt great. And I started losing weight. I started feeling good. My digestive system worked better. I had more energy. I slept better. And so I thought, this really does make sense. So what led me into it was poverty. I was so poor that I had to do this in my first year in practice, and my second year in practice, I could have collected food stamps. That's how poor I was. But this lifestyle came about for financial reasons, and it really worked really well, obviously. And so one of the things I run into is people say to me, Dr. Joe, I don't know if I could ever give up my, you fill in the blank, alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, artificial sweetener, breads, cookies, cakes, donuts, pastas. And my answer is always, give it a shot. Try it and see. Because I can't imagine not living this lifestyle. If I go to the grocery store, there are certain parts of the grocery store that are basically just blocked out of my mind. I walk past the meat section, I walk past the dairy section, and it's not even something I consider. It's like, it's not even something I want to do. It's just here, and it's a necessary evil. I have to walk through that to get to another part of the grocery store. So it's really easy to do. It's really inexpensive. You'll feel great. You'll lose weight. You'll have more energy. I can't imagine why you wouldn't want to do this. Now, the only reason I would think you wouldn't want to do it is that certain of the bad foods really do taste good. I have to give you that. I'm not going to lie to you and say that they don't taste good. They do. But it's been 1986 was the last time I had any. So it's been since 1986 since I've had any animal products, and it was not even a challenge to begin with, and now it's not even a thought. So I think you'd be pretty happy if you started this lifestyle and give it a shot. And what I always tell people is just take a step. Take any step you possibly can. Let's start with artificial sweetener. Of the 7 deadly sins, alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener is the worst. Artificial sweetener breaks down to 3 components: aspartic acid, phenylalanine, and methyl esters. And those chemicals, aspartic acid, when it gets into the brain, is what's called an excitotoxin. It causes the brain to fire faster than it's supposed to and can literally burn out your brain cells. So if you're doing artificial sweetener, it's affecting your brain function as an excitotoxin. The number one side effect of artificial sweetener is headaches, aspartame specifically. One of the side effects, and this was a letter written by the FDA, I think it was the FDA. Anyway, there's one of the government agencies written to a group, organization that, was it 19, 22 side effects? Can't remember what it was. One of the side effects, no kidding, was termination of life, death. What's a side effect? Not really a good side effect, is it? And so of the 7 deadly sins, if you're going to give one up, you want to give up the artificial sweetener first. And that goes for sucralose as well. Oh, by the way, if you have any questions, send it in right now. Type it in, and we'll be answering questions now. We have about an hour where it's just us talking. If you're just tuning in, there's a basketball game on my regular radio station, WSB Radio. So we're just kind of live streaming, making this a little more informal today until we go live. So if you have questions, send them in right now. So again, one of the side effects was death, and I thought, well, that's pretty powerful that that's even recognized as a side effect. But when people give up the artificial sweetener, many times their headaches, their muscle pain, their fibromyalgia starts to improve, and they'll say, well, Dr. Joe, how come nobody else ever told me this? This is the question I get all the time. Why didn't I do this sooner? Get chiropractic care, nutrition care, and why didn't somebody else tell me? And the answer is, I don't know that. So it's not hard to do. It's actually pretty easy to do when you start getting into this natural lifestyle. But giving up the artificial sweetener has to happen. And if you're going to do sucralose, which is the yellow packet, that's a chlorinated hydrocarbon. And when you chlorinate a hydrocarbon, it stimulates your estrogen receptor sites. It acts like estrogen. So it goes into the cells and feeds the cells as estrogen would and causes the cells to malfunction. It causes abnormal cell growth. And we don't need any more abnormal cell growth in our lives. So be careful with that stuff. The artificial sweetener is the worst. If you have to do something, which everyone always says, what do? I would suggest stevia. Now, there's also sweeteners called Lohan, which is another sweetener you can try. Xylitol is another one you can try. Now, if you do one of the sugar alcohols, like xylitol, too much of it can cause diarrhea. So just be careful with that. If you start getting diarrhea, you just ate too much of it. So something to consider. You might want to try those as sweeteners. But here's the thing. Once you start cutting out your sweeteners, you're not able to eat sweet things like you used to. The other night I went out to dinner and a couple of friends, and we went to a place and they had vegan strawberry cake. And somebody ordered it and said, everybody take a bite. And I took a bite and it was okay. But other people that were there that weren't, eating health right, they said, wow, this really doesn't have a whole lot of flavor. To me, it was spectacular. It wasn't overly sweet. And that's what usually happens is your taste buds go back to normal again. Because sugar stimulates the taste buds and you want more sugar. If you do anything with monosodium glutamate in it, MSG, that stimulates the part of your tongue called the umami taste buds. That's a real word, umami. And umami is savory. Savory flavors are stimulated. You taste more savory when you stimulate the taste buds. And say umami, which is monosodium glutamate, stimulates your umami taste buds, is a flavor enhancer. So sugar makes you crave more sugar. If you start doing flavor enhancers like MSG, you want more of that because your body isn't as sensitive to it. So start considering what you're putting in your body and what happens when you start to reboot your brain and reboot your taste buds in this case. So it's really kind of cool. And so we're kind of drifting away here as to why I became a vegan. But since I've become a vegan, since I've gone plant-based, there's a difference. Let's talk about the difference. Vegan is you eat no animal products. Okay, so you can eat brownies and cookies and cakes and donuts and pastas and breads and all of that's wonderful if you're a vegan because you're not eating animal products. Plant-based is you want to go to a more whole food diet, food that's not processed, as close to the way it came from nature. So if you're going to do olives, well, that's good. If you do olive oil, that's still processed. So you're stepping a little further away from the way it occurs in nature. So I'm not saying don't eat olive oil. If you're going to do it, make sure it's organic, make sure it's small amounts. But what happens is plant-based has gone one step beyond vegan, which is great. And then you have raw food diet. They used to be called hygienists. That's a word maybe some of you older folks might remember. But hygienists are someone who would eat whole food, raw food. And that's another level you can go to. But the less processing you do of the food, the better. So vegan, no animal products. Plant-based, no animal products, and less processed foods. You have a question?
Yeah. So what was the hardest thing for you to give up?
The hardest thing for me to give up, the thing I didn't think I'd make it with was meatball sandwiches. I love what?
Such an Italian.
Such an Italian Yankee thing, right? You've never had Italian bread fresh out of the oven from New York. That's a whole new world of bread when you do that. But what's interesting too, a lot of times in breads they'll use something called L-cysteine. And L-cysteine many times comes from duck feathers. So you may think it's vegan, but it's not because they're using duck feathers in it, or hair, human hair. They'll get cysteine from human hair. Kind of odd thing, because I'll tell you. But the thing I thought about the most was meatball sandwiches, if I had to pick one.
What is so there's the Japanese or Asian root that tastes kind of like shrimp.
Konjac.
Konjac.
Konjac is awesome. And konjac now is something they're using as a dietary supplement to help people lose weight. Because konjac is a fiber and it can push things through your colon, makes you feel full, and you can take konjac and shape it any way you want. And you can make shrimp-like products with it or scallops. They use it a lot with seafood, seafood substitutes, and it's really pretty good. I like that breaded konjac shrimp, and I'll take the plain ones and make shrimp scampi. And you like those? You've had them?
I've never had it, but I love seafood.
So Sierra's New Year's resolution, or not even resolution, New Year's challenge is to fake Asian cuisine and make it vegan.
Yeah.
Okay, that's easy.
How to fake that like fish sauce
I don't know why you're
flavor.
saying fake. I'm just
How
more
to-
like mimic.
Reproduce, maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Just Google vegan fish sauce. I'm sure you'll find
Yeah,
something in
well,
there, yeah.
Yeah. I'm just trying to master Asian cuisine and make it vegan.
Well, a lot of it is. I mean, by
Yeah, it's not, and they use tofu in most of their stuff anyway. So just
Yeah.
cutting out the like fish sauce and.
yeah. There's a restaurant on Buford Highway. It's called Harmony, and in that same
Heard of Harmony.
yeah, and it's okay. But in that same shopping center, there's a grocery store that has a ton of plant-based substitutes for seafood and for meat and for everything. So it's just a fun place. Now, next to Harmony, there's a place called Penang. Now, Penang is not a vegan restaurant, but they have this dish, and I'm not sure what it's called. I really should try to remember it. But it has okra in it and cabbage, and it's like a soupy type thing with a turmeric sauce. Off the chart, unbelievable. It is so good, and it's not a vegan restaurant. But whenever I like thinking about it, makes me want to go there. That's how good this is. So that's a fun little thing. But something we used to do back in college, this is before I even went vegan or vegetarian, we'd go up Buford Highway and do a progressive dinner. You know, one place we'd have one main course, and 4 people, maybe 2 main courses, and we go to another place have another main course, and then we have an appetizer, and just go from restaurant to restaurant. And there's so many good places now you can do that. There's Ethiopian, which is of course my favorite. There's a lot of Asian places, like you were saying. The Penang is just off the chart, so it's a lot of fun places you can try.
So Paul on YouTube is asking, he's just since ordered the Mega Liquid D3 with K2
Yes.
and wondered if it will help clotting if he gets a cut. The K2.
Probably yes. That's what vitamin K does. Yeah.
Mhm. As a mechanic, cuts his hands a lot.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Now everyone should be doing vitamin D. Vitamin D. Now that vitamin D is not vegan, by the way. Okay, just so you know, it comes from sheep wool, from lanolin. But the vitamin D, everyone, almost everybody is low in vitamin D. It's very rare somebody comes in and has a blood work done and their vitamin D is normal. That being said, the ones who do have it normal are taking vitamin D supplements. So in the winter, I can't imagine not taking vitamin D supplements. So the answer is yes. And Paul, you probably need about 5,000 international units a day. That's 5 drops. Okay, now if you do get sick, if you start getting a cold or flu or something like that, you can do up to 50,000 units a day, but only for 3 days, and then cut back to 5,000 again. But that'll really give your immune system a boost. And then we also use Dr. Joe's Wellness Booster for cold and flu. I take that every day. And then if you do start getting sick, Dr. Joe's Seasonal Tonic, which is ginger, horseradish, cayenne pepper, onion, and garlic. We puree that in an apple cider vinegar. So it's really strong, but I tell you what, it'll knock out just about anything in a day or two.
So let's give this one a twofold answer. Lowering blood pressure. What can you do diet-wise, and is there a product that they can take?
Yes. Well, let's talk about structure first. Threefold answer. I'm going to give you a threefold answer. Blood pressure. You don't just have high blood pressure. It just does like appear out of nowhere. Usually, it's a pinched nerve somewhere in the spine controlling part of the blood pressure. Something that controls blood pressure, like the lower part of the neck controls the heart. The atlas right up here can affect the brain stem, and if the brain stem is affected, that can raise blood pressure. But many times what I find in blood pressure patients is the stomach or the digestive system isn't working properly. Many times when I see high blood pressure, we have acid reflux, heartburn, burping, gas, bloating, grumbling of the gut. The stomach can be spasmed or pushed up against the diaphragm, and that irritates something called the vagus nerve. Now, the vagus nerve also has a major control over the heart. So if the vagus nerve is being irritated, it can cause the heart to beat faster and actually raise the blood pressure. And over the years I've been in practice, many patients, we've fixed their digestive system and the blood pressure drops. And I've gotten to the point now, my doctors will warn the patients, listen, if we're going to work on your digestive system, monitor your blood pressure. And if it starts dropping, you either got to give us up or you got to give up the medication. Supplement-wise, you got to give up, of course, you got to give up the 7 deadly sins: alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener. That goes without saying. Super greens, essential source, and nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is a vasodilator. It opens up your blood vessels, and as the blood vessels open, the pressure drops. So we'll put a lot of our blood pressure patients on nitric oxide and monitor their blood pressure. It's got to make sure it doesn't go too low. But that's usually not a real tough one to figure out if you're willing to work with us.
So how long do you think it would take for sugar to get out of your system if you stopped eating it?
3 days.
3 days?
After 3 days, most of the cravings go away. In fact, I just got a message on the website about that exact thing. The person had a sugar issue, and they gave up sodas and adding sugar to sodas and cereals and adding sugar, but they can't give up the cookies and cakes. What do you do? So what you have to do is you have to reset your brain. It's a part of the brain called the nucleus accumbens that releases dopamine that's stimulated by sugar. So what you have to do is reboot that. It takes about 3 or 4 days of no sugar for the brain to kind of reset itself. I recommend super greens, an essential source to give your body the nutrients that it needs. Nitric oxide can help circulation. And then we have another supplement. It's not one of my supplements. We carry it from another manufacturer. It's called Gymnema. And Gymnema is amazing for stabilizing blood sugar. And if you want to do this, it's kind of cool. Take a Gymnema tablet and chew it. And then try eating something sweet. And you'll be amazed how it doesn't taste sweet anymore. It'll have no flavor. It numbs the sugar taste buds. It's really kind of cool. So,
do you think that the super greens or the essential source would help with appetite control?
Oh, always. Everyone says that. I have patients come to me all the time and say, Dr. Joe, I can't afford not to take super greens and essential source because I'm eating so much less food that I'm making money by taking it.
Yeah.
It pays for itself and they make money. So, yeah, they save money, I should say.
I take both of them as a meal replacement in the morning, and
Okay.
then usually end up eating a much smaller lunch even still.
Yeah, I do it too. First thing in the morning, super greens and essential source. And I'm usually good if it's a crazy day at the office or I'm doing radio shows. I usually get till about 10, 11 o'clock. Then I have to have a snack. So.
Have you ever seen anybody develop skin issues after going vegan?
Sometimes, yes. And the reason is that when you start changing your diet, the body starts to detoxify. And as the body detoxifies, chemicals will come out through your skin. Whenever I see a skin issue, I always think liver and digestion. So yes, when people change their diet, sometimes they will have a little breakout, which is okay. It's no big deal. It's just the body cleaning itself out. More questions?
My 7-year-old daughter suffers from anxiety. Can you
Yes.
recommend blood work to suggest pediatrician to check for blood levels as to reason for anxiety that happens fall and winter?
Okay, we have a holistic pediatrician we work with. Can't think of her name now. She's in Roswell. However, what?
Yeah, give us a call and we'll get you in touch with the pediatrician.
Yeah, but that being said, I'm not sure you need to go that route yet. So don't get too excited. Many times when a child has anxiety, it's a structural issue. And I would say there's 3 types of stress. There's chemical, emotional, and physical stress. The physical stress is what we're really good at. If the spine is out of place, if there's muscle spasms. But here's the thing: if the stomach is not working properly, your digestive system, your stomach's job is to take proteins and break them into amino acids. The amino acid tryptophan becomes serotonin in the brain. If the serotonin is low, you get anxious. And then serotonin becomes melatonin. Many times anxious people have trouble sleeping as well. And many times if we fix the digestive system, the brain gets the raw materials that it needs and it works perfectly fine. So that might be something you want to consider, is bringing us first and let us take a look at her. And if that doesn't work, we could always go, and we could do blood work too. We can send you out for blood work. So.
All right, I have a question on
Oh,
Instagram.
fine, Missy.
Okay, I'm having a diverticulitis flare with fever. I'm on a liquid diet and I'm trying to avoid antibiotics. Any suggestions on herbal teas or other interventions to keep from having to go an antibiotic route?
I cannot tell you how many patients we get that question from, I would almost say on a daily basis. We had 3 on Friday that had pieces of their colon removed because they had something wrong with the bowels, and they create a J pouch, and they tie off. They basically take the colon and stick it into the anus, and it's just a mess. So the answer is yes. With a fever, the body's trying to raise its temperature to kill off viruses, and so that's a good thing. And again, we got to monitor the fever. If it goes up to 103 or more, 103 is right around the borderline. If it starts getting higher than that, we may have to work on breaking the fever because I don't want you to have too many issues with that. So what do we got to do for that? Number one, I'd get you on probiotics, Dr. Joe's probiotics, to help recolonate the colon. So step number one, Dr. Joe's, Super Green's Essential Source and probiotics. And again, Super Green's Essential Source are powders. You shake them up with some liquid and you can drink it. So that would be perfectly fine with your diet there. And that will give you the things that you need to heal. Second thing I would recommend is aloe vera juice, a really high quality aloe vera juice. Sometimes they have the cheap ones. You don't want the cheap ones. You want a good one. And the aloe vera can help calm the colon down. You can also do slippery elm tea. Slippery elm tea is very good at calming down mucous membrane, so you might want to consider that as well. So slippery elm tea, aloe vera, Super Green's Essential Source, and the probiotics. Then you might want to come see us. And the reason I say that is the nerves in the low back control the digestive system. And if you have a pinched nerve in the low back, that can actually be affecting the function of your colon. Then we want to check to see if the stomach is up against the diaphragm. We may have to massage the digestive system to get it to relax. What you want to do is kick in something called your parasympathetic nervous system. There's 2 types of nerves in the body. Sympathetic speeds you up and parasympathetic slow you down. And we want to kick into parasympathetics to slow down the process. So the healing process would be nutritional, supplements. You do the teas like aloe vera as a juice and then slippery elm tea, and then get chiropractic care for the digestive system and the nervous system. And in most cases, people are just thrilled. They want to name their kids after us because you fix those things. Can't make promises, but I can tell you we've seen tons of cases like yours, and in most cases, we get extremely good results.
So you can't be happy all the time.
Me? Why not?
What? I mean, there had to have been at some point along you going vegan, getting back to that story, but
Back to that again.
well, I have questions.
Let's kick that dead horse. Now, go ahead.
What did you not like? What didn't go well? Where did you have problems? You didn't struggle?
It took me a while to make the decision because as an Italian, I was taught you make a decision, you say you're going to do something, you do it. It's not an option.
So it wasn't so much you made the decision to do it and then struggled to keep your word. It was you struggled to come to the decision and then
keep my word, exactly. Yeah, it was the other way around, right? And once I did, it was a very easy process. I was like, okay, I'm fine with that. Yeah, and so that's why I was amazed when I read, growing up my father came from a family of 10 kids, and so they all had kids, and so I had cousins. I don't know how many cousins I have now. I have no idea, but Grandma and Grandpa Esposito, they were prolific, and to say the least. So we said we're going to be somewhere at 2 o'clock. We showed up at 2 o'clock. And everybody helped everybody. There was not a question. Somebody's car wasn't working. My father was a mechanic. He'd go to their house and fix the car. My other uncle was good with carpentry, so something like carpentry. And that's how it was. And when I started growing up and getting out in the real world and running into people that are like, what do you mean you don't keep your word? Of course you keep your word. You say you're going to do something, you do it. And so when I decided I'm going to do it, I didn't know there was an option to not do it. So it really wasn't a struggle. I wish I could tell you some great story about it, but it really wasn't. Once I decided to do it, it wasn't. Getting to that decision was. And I remember one time I was at a place called Harry's Farmers Market in Alpharetta, which is in Atlanta, and there was only one at the time. And the gal I was dating, we were walking through the farmer's market, and they had fish swimming in the tank. Because I was thinking, maybe I'll just give up meat, land meat, but not fish, and blah, blah, blah. And she said the thing that changed everything. She said, we kill them too. And that was the sentence that went, if I'm going to do this, I just got to do it. There's no option here. And that's when I made my decision to do it. Yeah. So, more questions?
Tons of questions.
I have one more from Facebook.
Okay.
I don't know if it's really a question.
You have Facebook or Instagram over there?
Instagram, whatever I have.
I don't know
over
what you
here.
have. We got all different cameras here, folks.
I
That's
have
why.
Instagram. Okay. I have a rare autoimmune disease called Churg-Strauss.
I don't think you get a bell for that one.
Well-
I don't think you get a ding and a bell. If they, by the way, folks, if you knew, whenever Garrett or Sierra gets say a technical word right, I ring the bell, but I'm not sure she said it right. So.
I don't know. It's spelled Churg, Churg-Strauss syndrome.
Okay.
And just recently went gluten-free and paleo. I'm iron deficiency, require iron every month, and have a massive clot in my heart. And just recently became gluten-free. I guess that's not really a question, but...
Okay. Well, when it comes to immune system problems like that, gluten-free and dairy-free, absolutely, because dairy is the #1 food allergen and wheat's the #2 food allergen. So you got to give those up right away. There's no question there. Getting the immune system stabilized is important, and I cannot tell you how many patients we have and people close with groups here that have immune conditions. It's crazy. So what we have to do is get the immune system working properly. Digestive enzymes seem to work really well. One of our patients has cystic fibrosis and had a lung transplant. And just constant digestive issues and health, sick all the time. And she said they were putting on prescription enzymes, and they did okay. And I finally convinced her to try Dr.Joe's digestive enzymes, and within 3 days, she came up to me and hugged me, and she said, "This is unbelievable." She says, "I'm going to the bathroom normally now." She goes, "I don't have urgency. It's just crazy." So, you have something to say?
I was going to add to this.
Okay.
Churg-Strauss, if you haven't heard of it, is an extremely rare disease. Causes inflammation of your blood vessels. Damages small and medium-sized blood vessels.
There you go. So when the blood vessels are inflamed, we want to make sure we get some bioflavonoids in our diet. So super greens and essential source are loaded with bioflavonoids because they help strengthen the blood vessels. So you want to do that. Anti-inflammatory, we talked about that. I would say from all 7 deadly sins, you went plant-based, which just rocks. So super greens and essential source, those would be absolutely positively part of it. Check your vitamin D levels. You've probably had that checked before. If it's low, you got to get those vitamin D levels up, absolutely. And more raw foods and the enzymes, but raw foods, if you can do it, broccoli, cucumbers, tomatoes, avocado, salad, because they're loaded with enzymes, and the enzymes help fight the inflammation. So that would be something you might want to consider as well. Okay? And then chiropractic care. I mean, chiropractic care, I forget that everyone doesn't think those simple terms. Chiropractic care helps the immune system. It helps normalize the immune system, not stimulate or suppress, but normalize the immune system. So these are things you might want to consider as well. And in most cases, great results. If you have digestive issues, then we got to fix the digestive system. Garrett's all excited over there. What do you got?
I get to challenge myself at these words.
Here we got to get the bell. See if he gets it right.
So what would you do for somebody that wants to go vegan or wants to be at least vegetarian, but has ulcerative colitis?
Ulcerative. Ulcerative. Oh.
You haven't heard the commercials for
There's the
that
bell.
one?
Hi.
No bell
We
for
don't even
Garrett
have
today.
cable.
On the radio. You don't listen to the radio either.
On the radio. Whoa. Song before your time.
I do listen to WSB on the way to work.
You should listen to WSB. Everyone should listen to WSB all the time, even when you're sleeping. So ulcerative colitis, same thing we talked about, is you have to get to that. You have to calm down the inflammation in the bowels. So check the nerve supply in the low back. That goes into the bowels. Sometimes we have to get in and just adjust or massage the colon to get it to calm down. You want to get on anti-inflammatory diet. So definitely no dairy or wheat, but all 7 deadly sins: alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener. I would definitely stay away from. Super greens, an essential source, real easy to digest. Slippery elm tea is very calming to the digestive system as well. So it's not hard to do. It's pretty easy, and we see cases like this all the time. And once you get them fixed up, man, they're pretty happy.
So one of our patients was mentioning that they have their stomach adjusted, and when they do, their stomach is often really tender.
Yeah.
When they press on it.
Sure.
Is that normal?
Well, you're poking around on something. When you poke around on something, sometimes it's a little sore, but it doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It just means that we poked around on it a little bit. Yeah.
And how do you massage the stomach?
On my website, our website, drjoe.com, if you look under blog, right? Is that what the articles are under blog? Yeah, if you look under blog, it's the first article we talk about. We actually take the stomach and we pull it down away from the diaphragm. We pull the stomach down away from the diaphragm. The stomach can relax, and it's a very simple procedure. So, yes.
One more, and then I'm going to go back to some questions about being vegan.
So
I would love to hear your thoughts on essential oils and what their capabilities and limitations are in the human body.
Limitations are you always want to make sure you only get the best. You know, in my book, Prescription for Extreme Health,
We didn't put it out.
Got to put it out today, yeah. In our book, Prescription for Extreme Health, we have a quote from my grandfather who said, always buy the best, it's always cheaper. So when it comes to essential oils, make sure you're getting a high quality brand. Certain stores will carry it. There are certain multi-level marketing companies that do a good job with them as well. They usually come in very small bottles. They're usually pretty expensive. Not very expensive, but $8, $10, $12 a bottle. But you don't need a lot. Everybody thinks, oh, that small bottle, that's not a lot. A drop is all you need. So essential oils can help with everything from aphrodisiac to calming to mental health to relaxation. So I'm a big fan of essential oils, but make sure they're pure essential oils.
doTERRA or doTERRA?
That's a good brand. Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Do you put them in diffusers or do you just?
You can put them in diffusers. You can just put them right on your hands. You could, and by the way, folks, please don't use perfume and cologne. That stuff is loaded with phthalates, and phthalates interfere with your immune system and your endocrine system. So if you're going to use something because you want to smell nice, just use essential oils. I like rose, by the way. Should it ever matter. So. Yes, you can put it in you put it in a house. It's antibiotic, antiviral sometimes. So yeah, it's good.
So back to vegan. Some
Very
people
important.
have mentioned.
Mr. One-Track Mind over here.
Well, we have a lot of questions that kind of.
I know that's kind of what we started with, yeah.
It's not even a question really. It's just a conversation going on about being treated differently for having been vegan.
Everybody talks about this, and I see it online, and there's these chat groups and everything like that, and people pick on you for being vegan. I've never had an issue with it because I know that I'm right. I mean, it's not like no one's going to deter me and say, "Oh, I guess I'll have a hamburger today." It's not an option to me. It's just this is the life I've chosen. I mean, if you're Christian, you have certain values that you don't ever go against, and not comparing it to a religion, of course, but it's a lifestyle. So I don't know. I've never had an issue with it, but you have to understand it, and when you own it, then you don't have a problem with it anymore. It's only when you're not sure about yourself.
We definitely have friends of ours that pick on us, but
it's more just like joking. It's not
that's how it.
Yeah,
it's so weird.
It's just banter.
It's so weird for them to think about not eating meat, like not ordering a hamburger.
Yeah.
No,
I find
it's just something to talk about.
I find it great conversation.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great conversation starter. And I always say, listen, I don't care what you eat as long as you don't care what I eat.
Yeah.
And that's my whole thing. It's like, you want to eat it. I mean, I was at Christmas dinner with family, and the prime rib, I had to pass the prime rib, and I felt weird doing that because I hadn't been that close to a piece of meat in a long time. But it's their choice, I mean, not to get real deep because I usually aren't, but the famous guy once said, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And boy, is that ever the case. And I look at these people going, man, if you would just, in my mind, if you would just do something simple like take super greens and essential source, if you would just eat a salad a day, if you would just cut back on your animal protein intake, you can't go wrong. It's not like it's not going to work for you. It always works when you do it. So just got to own it. That's all it is. You just got to own it. And I don't care what other people think as long as they don't care. And it's never affected me. It's never been an issue. If I have business meetings, and God knows I have a lot of those, if we go out for dinner, I mean, Garrett and I went to a fancy diner the other day to talk about, we're going to take this show, my radio show, and we're going to start airing it. Did he say April 1st? What was the start date?
4th month of the year?
April?
After the first quarter. Yeah. So, yeah.
It's the start of the second quarter.
Millennials, this is how they count months. So, yes, April 1st. And we're going to take this and we're going to put it on Tough TV, and there was another network he's putting it on. Anyway, so it's going to be over the air if you have internet or Roku. It's Tough TV, and there's another station he's going to put us on. I forget. But we went to a diner, and there was 6 of us, right, all together. And so Garrett and I just ordered the veggie plate, and one person had meatloaf, and one had a hamburger.
There was a meatloaf. There was a hamburger. There was Maybe it was lamb.
I don't remember what it was.
Yeah.
And it was just like, and they said, "Oh boy, yours looks good." I said, "Yeah, you know," and I gently joked about it, ha ha ha. And we moved on because we weren't there to talk about food. We were there to talk about doing the deal, making this a TV show. And so we just kind of let it go. It was, you didn't feel uncomfortable, right?
Actually, the only real conversation about food that there was me talking to the VP's wife about her favorite butter replacement.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that was kind of it. But it never deterred from the meeting. It didn't have any bearing whatsoever. Yeah. So we just ordered the veggie plate. It was a ridiculous $17 for a couple of veggies. It was a little expensive. I wouldn't have bought that. We didn't pay, so it was okay.
All right, let's see if I can get you to earn yourself a bell.
Ooh.
Somebody just asked us a question, and it's about one of three main things we get questions about.
Well, it's either ketogenic.
There you
That's
go.
what I was gonna say. I was gonna guess the
I want a
keto.
bell. I got my own bell.
What is your opinion of the keto diet? Ketogenic.
We should just have these
ketogenic
printed
diet?
up. Where do you get your protein? Where do you get your calcium? And the ketogenic. Just hand out
You
flyers.
should
on
leave
this.
it in a comment on the top of every live stream.
Yeah, every time we do a live stream, here's Dr. Joe's opinion on a ketogenic diet. It's fine. It's only for short term. I would not do it long term. Studies are coming out now showing that if you do ketogenic diet for more than 2 months, it can increase your risk of heart disease. So that's a big problem. So you might want to be careful with that. It's hard to do. I mean, some people find it hard to do anyway. But your body's not designed to function like that. And if you go on any type of diet that doesn't include some carbohydrates over a long period of time, your liver just starts producing its own glucose. It's called gluconeogenesis. And so you're getting glucose into the body. So that tells us that the body really wants to run on glucose. If the liver is willing to convert proteins into glucose, if you're going to do it for 2 months, lose some weight, that's fine. If you're going to do it, make sure all the fats you're doing or whatever you're doing is all organic. You don't want to do non-organic fats. But again, you probably want to cycle in and out. In fact, don't we have a show coming up on that? Yeah, we're going to have to do a show on it. My nose is itching. It must be dusting here. We must have to do a show on it, and we just give people that link. Yeah. But you have to cycle in and out of it. You can't do it long term. It's not healthy for you.
And going off of that, what's your opinion on protein needed in the? Because a lot of people, the first thing that they ask me,
Where do you get your protein?
Yeah,
what do you do? I'm just worried that you're not going to get enough protein and you're just going to faint.
Okay, I've been vegan 1986. So where are we now? So 32 years, right? Okay, 32 years, 33 years.
You were looking at me to do that?
Yeah, I was going to use your fingers. Okay, you have the calculator with you, right? Okay.
You're going to have to take off your socks.
Yeah, I know. Poor Garrett. So I think so far so good. Okay, I don't think I have a protein deficiency. I don't think it's affecting my brain. I don't think it's affecting my body. I don't think it's affecting my function. Everything is where it should be. So the answer is you only need about 8 to 10% of your total caloric intake as protein. Anything beyond that puts a strain on your kidneys and your liver. A carrot is 6% protein. So you're going to get more than enough protein. What does a cow eat? I mean, what cow you're eating it for milk and meat, and leather and bones, and they make bone broth, which is the same thing. Where do cows get their protein from? From eating plants. How about elephants? How about giraffes? How about hippopotamuses? Okay? The biggest, longest living, strongest animals in the world are plant-based. Even the dinosaurs, the biggest dinosaurs were the plant-based ones. So you're going to get more than enough protein from eating a plant-based diet. You don't have to worry about that. That's fine.
One more to go off on intermittent fasting. How do you feel?
Yes, excellent. I try to do. In fact, I'm doing it right now. This is what it looks like. I had lunch today at 2 o'clock. I had a bean burrito, no wrap, and I haven't had anything since, and I'm not going to have anything until tomorrow morning for breakfast. You should intermittent fast. The minimum you should do every day is 12 hours. So what that means is, if you have dinner at 5 o'clock, don't have breakfast till 5 o'clock. You have dinner at 7 o'clock, don't have breakfast till 7. Now, you shouldn't be eating at 7 o'clock anyway, unless you go to bed 10, 11 o'clock. Latest you should ever eat is 3 hours before you go to bed, and that's longer the better. So 12 hours every day, that's good. 1 to 2 days a week, what you should do is skip dinner or skip breakfast. I was talking to my friend Tim last night, as a matter of fact. We had Ethiopian food, spectacular. And he was saying he likes to skip breakfast, but he likes dinner because that's his time to socialize. So for me, I don't, Tim and I, of course, friends, we socialize a lot, but I I find it easier to skip dinner and not breakfast. He finds it easier to skip breakfast. So if he has dinner at 7 o'clock, he then will skip breakfast and go right into lunch. So skip either breakfast or dinner one or 2 days a week. If you can do 3 days a week, even better. And some people that are really disciplined do it every day. And that's spectacular. Because the number one consumer of energy we have is sex. The number two consumer of energy is digestion. And most of us are digesting all day, every day. Most of us aren't doing the former, but we're doing the latter all day, every day. And so what happens is when you can cut back and give your digestive system a break, the body really heals at an amazing rate.
What is the name of that Ethiopian bread?
Injera.
Injera.
made
I
with
still
teff.
don't understand how you can eat it as soggy as they make
Oh
it.
my God, you haven't been to the right place. I'm gonna have to take you to my special place. I'll take you to my special place. I don't even know the name of it. I'll be honest with you. I know where it is, and we go there, and like Tim. I got together with Tim and some other friends, and we said, "All right, let's go out for Ethiopia." No question. Tim drove. Still don't know the name of it to this day, and we go there a lot, and it's great.
Our favorite Korean barbecue place before we went vegan, at least my favorite. No English anywhere on the outside or inside of the building.
Isn't that great?
Still use charcoal.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to get to it, actually.
Sierra drives.
No.
He went with his Korean
Yeah,
friends.
I went with a lot of my Korean friends, but I would just drive down Buford Highway until I saw the wooden building, and I was like, oh,
There it
that's
is.
it.
Boom. Yep. First time I had Korean food, I was in New York. God, I was still in high school actually. And a gal I knew, she worked at the Empire State Building, and she worked with a bunch of Korean people, and they said, you got to go to this Korean restaurant. So I went into New York. I lived on the New Jersey side. So I went into New York. I met her, and we went to this Korean restaurant. And again, no, they didn't speak any English. And this before I was vegan. And they put out these little, if you've ever been to a Korean restaurant, they put these little plates in front of you, little appetizers. I don't know what they are. And it's usually like a fermented cabbage or kimchi or something like that. And one of them, these little slimy things. And if a Korean restaurant, if it's Korean barbecue, you cook the meat right in front of you. You do your own cooking, which is crazy, right? You cook your own meal. And so I didn't know what to do. She didn't know what to do. We had never been there. So I picked up one of the little slimy things. I was watching other people put the meat on the barbecue, and I went to put it on the barbecue, and the waitress, no. And I said, what's wrong? She said, this is and she's trying to get it in English. She goes, I said, fish? She goes, fish. Fish, I said, stomach? She goes, yeah, raw fish stomach. I went, oh! So that was a little gross for me. But apparently you don't cook raw fish stomach. You eat it raw. Yes. But Korean, bibimbap at a Korean restaurant is just spectacular. It's a great vegan dish. Spectacular. Spicy. Get it without egg. Okay, make sure you get the plant-based one without egg.
So we ordered it at work on, what was our last day before Christmas?
Monday.
Yeah, Monday?
Monday?
Yeah, Monday would have been Christmas Eve.
Oh, that's right. I wasn't there, right? No. Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's what we ordered. We
Okay.
ordered from the place up the road.
The bowl?
Yeah.
Yeah, that place is good, but every time I eat, I get a headache.
Good.
They must use a ton of MSG or something because I just get a blazing headache for a long time after that. So I can't eat there anymore. I love the food now. So, more questions? Any questions, guys?
Delivery bibimbap was a good idea until I realized that they weren't going to deliver it in the bowl.
Yeah.
Oh, you want it in the bowl? Oh.
Well, stone bowl?
In the stone bowl, because then the rice
What, you
cooks
think they're just
longer.
gonna? What are you gonna just bring the
No, I don't-
stone bowl back?
Charge me $20.
That's right. When I'm done, it's a deposit. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll bring
You
it
got
back.
questions? I got answers.
What do you do when you're the only plant-based member in the household? How do you handle being surrounded by temptations?
Oh, temptation is not even a thought. It's not temptation for me. It's ostracization, if that's a word.
Nobel.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no bell for me on that one. So, you have to decide you don't do this. And I mean to get real serious. I wouldn't pull out a gun and shoot Garrett right now. It's not something I would do. Not that I even think about it, but sometimes. No, he's never got me mad.
With my blood,
Yet.
you'd be lucky to pull it.
That's right. Yeah. But it's not something that I do, and so temptation is not even there. It's not even an issue. Like for Christmas, with family, and they had a spinach that they did use vegan butter on, which I was happy. And there was broccoli, and then there was bread that was vegan, no L-cysteine in it. And so I had a spinach sandwich. It was fine. Was it Christmas dinner? Not traditional, but I wasn't there for the dinner. I was there to be with my family. So no one picked on me. Nothing was mentioned. I just took the cream spinach and I put it on the bread and I ate it and it was fine. I usually don't eat bread and I didn't feel good after eating bread, to be honest with you. But it was not a big deal. So temptation is not even a thought process to me because I would never be tempted to eat the prime rib. whatever. They had prime rib and they had 7 fishes, being an Italian family. And I not even a thought to have the 7 fishes, not even a thought to have the ravioli or prime rib. It was just not even
Is
there.
it called 7 fishes, or is it 7 individual fish?
In Italian, on Christmas Eve, you would have 7 different fish
Okay.
for dinner. And as far as I know, it doesn't matter what fish it is. We never thought it was never taught anything. So my niece made dinner, and she had stuffed clams and shrimp and salmon and
Just
tuna.
7 times its
7
size.
different types of fish. Yeah,
Seafood.
7. Yeah, exactly. So why? I have no idea. I don't understand the tradition of the 7 fishes. So.
I made a vegan Wellington for.
Oh yeah, how was that?
Yeah, that was on the Instagram.
Yeah,
Oh.
it was actually like really meaty. I used like shiitake, baby bella, and oyster mushrooms,
Uh huh.
and then I mixed it with soy sauce or liquid aminos if you don't want to do soy.
Sure.
And it had a really like hearty flavor. I wasn't
Yeah.
expecting it to be so meaty.
Yeah.
My whole family, like, I made it for just me and Garrett and I, and then my entire family ate it, and it was almost gone. Everybody loved
They
it.
loved it. Yeah, that's the whole thing. I've never had a vegan meal where somebody didn't say, "Oh my God, this is delicious."
Yeah.
Back in the old days, you used to get meals on planes. This is before you were born, and I'd always get the vegan meal, and everyone, no matter who you're sitting next to, wow, that really looks good.
It's because it's simple.
It's simple. It's easy. It's good for you. It's almost
light.
like it's light. It's like what you're biologically attracted to almost.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it's really kind of cool. So.
Problem I had with it was I was asleep all day up until we
Dinner.
ate.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So when I got up and I sat down at the table, I'm a little out of it, and I go to eat. I take a bite, and I immediately have to like look into it and make sure nobody's playing the trick on me because it tasted so beefy.
What's Sierra doing to me? She slipped a little hamburger in here.
It was
Yeah.
so beefy.
And if you don't know what to make, folks, my first book I wrote is called Eating Right for the Health of It.
Mhm.
First half of the book tells you how to change your diet. Second half of the book is 202 of my favorite recipes. You want to run out to the car and get all this stuff? We
Yeah, I
kinda
can.
use it? Yeah. Okay. We're in the studio, getting special passes and stuff. This place is like Fort Knox to get into. So you know what it is, right in the back?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So I see a few questions on Facebook, but if y'all hold on for just a minute, I'm gonna take care of somebody who's been waiting on YouTube.
Okay.
Get ready for the 3-part question.
Ah.
I just came in, so excuse me if I'm off topic.
Okay.
My mom is 70 years young.
Mm-hmm.
In general good health, has been prescribed Topamax for migraines in July. Has
Yes.
since been having lower left backside kidney area pain. I've told her to stop the Topamax because, is that right?
That's you. You get a bell for that one.
Okay.
There you go. You got it right.
Because I feel, and my research is telling me it's dangerous. I got her NAC and chlorella, but she won't take it. She is a retired LPN, so she is brainwashed on traditional medicine.
Mm-hmm.
Part 3. Mother had CT done on the kidney area last week to check for stones. What else can cause her pain? I think the damage is from the Topamax, and she's on a Bilateral faux high blood pressure.
Okay. All right. So a couple of things there. Again, I'm not here to advise on take drugs or not take drugs. Our goal is to get you well so you don't need the drugs. That's our approach. So with headaches, we always got to try to get to the cause of the headaches or any pain and not just treat the symptoms. So if mom is having headaches, first thing I look is a pinched nerve in the neck. Usually that's the cause. Chiropractically, we put the bones back in place. That's awesome. Then we look at her diet. We want to see if she's doing anything that could be triggering headaches. Things like artificial sweetener, monosodium glutamate. Those are things, wheat, dairy products. Those can be triggering headaches. Taurine. Taurine is found in cheeses. It's found in meats. So we might want to look at her diet and see what else she's doing that might be triggering the migraine. So we want to fix the chemistry. We want to fix the physical aspects of it. And then most likely the headaches are going to go away. Now, if they don't go away and she's having kidney pain, the drugs could be causing kidney inflammatory reaction. So even though there's no stones in there necessarily, it could be an issue. The other thing we want to look at is the nerves right here. These are the nerves that go into the kidneys. And so from a chiropractic standpoint, we would check them to make sure there's not a problem there. So if we can get the diet straightened out, if we can get the physical issues addressed, and we can get the neurological issues problems resolved, in many cases, we get amazing results. So my approach would be let's get to the cause of the problem and not just treat the symptoms. Thank you. All right. All right, more questions. Go ahead.
Why do certain vegetables give you gas?
There's a sugar in there called raffinose. It's actually the sugar that causes a lot of the problems. And the sugar is broken down with the bacteria in the colon, and that causes the gas. What happens is once you start eating right, your body will start developing new bacteria to help break down these sugars, and in most cases, that solves the problem. Now, it could be protein putrefaction as well, but it's just sugar to protein, and once you start eating right, the body will change the bacteria that's in the colon, which is kind of cool.
Headphones.
Is it about to start?
Grab your headphones. No, it's not about to start. They're hanging over the front.
Oh, mine.
Oh.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
If I was at home
I was like,
looking
why
at
do I need
Headphones,
our
yeah.
headphones?
Headphones. I don't know where we are.
If I was at home.
How we doing on the
looking
game,
at this.
Ahmad? Timeline on the game? The reason we're doing this, by the way, this informal
I
thing.
don't know. Right now they're in the last couple minutes, 3 minutes and some change left, and it was still a post game as well.
Okay. Give me a little heads up when it starts.
When the post game starts.
When we go on.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I gotta keep you up to date, and I gotta keep
Oh, good old what's his name over there? Yeah. Okay. DeMarco's even here today. Yeah. So anyway, the reason we're doing this is because there's a game on WSB, a basketball game, and so we're waiting for the game to end for us to come on. So that's why we're having this nice informal session, which I kind of like it. It's kind of fun. So, more questions?
Yes. Would going vegan help lower body weight or body fat?
Almost always does. Absolutely. Now, I should say going plant-based, because if you go
Yes.
vegan and start eating brownies and cookies and cakes and donuts and pastas, no. I mean, there are fat vegans, and there are healthy
there's
vegans.
Plenty of vegan junk food.
And there's plenty of, and now especially when I started, there wasn't a lot of vegan junk food. Now there is. So don't go, I'm vegan, I'm not losing weight. Why is that? Well, think logically too. But the answer is yes.
Someone said you were awesome on Oz.
Oh, thank you. We were on Dr. Oz 2 weeks ago, I guess it was, and it was so much fun. And I can't thank Dr. Oz and his crew enough. They couldn't have been nicer. They invited me up, they picked me up at the airport, and they were just so kind and so generous. And Dr. Oz did say, because he called in this show, I was a guest on Eric Von Hessler's show that day it aired. And Oz called in, and I was expecting him to just say, yeah, we're on this afternoon. Make sure you tune in. 20 minutes. It was just a little hangout session. It was me and Oz and Eric and the rest of the doctrinaires, they're called. And we just had a blast. And Oz said, he said, well, I'd love to have you back. So hopefully we'll be back on Dr. Oz. We also want to get on Good Morning America. That's a goal coming up, too. So we got a lot more invitations coming up. So, but thank you. More questions?
No more questions.
No more questions.
Did you want to talk about the recipes that were in your book?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay. So this book, Eating Right for the Health of It, first half of the book tells you how to change your diet. Second half of the book, well over 200 recipes. Now, I'm not even going to look where I'm opening. Every recipe is real easy. Nothing in here you couldn't get at any grocery store. And this spectacular tastes. So when people say, I don't know what to eat, we have that all laid out for you. It's right there. Oops. It's alive. Yeah, so that's just off the chart. That book is great if you don't know what to eat. It's a great guide. On the website, drjoe.com, we have the most popular video we have is called The 7 Deadly Sins of Nutrition. So watch that one and then look in our page and look for another audio we did called So What Can I Eat? And that's the way you start. 7 Deadly Sins of Nutrition, So What Can I Eat? That's the guide. Then the books are here. Minimum amount of nutrients you should be taking every day. Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. These two are powders. They taste great. Mix them with cold water. They're fine. Coconut milk if you want a little sweeter. Almond milk, anything you really want to. I don't care what you mix it with. Somebody sent me a message today on the website, and they said, how else can I take it aside from drinking it? You can mix it in your food. You could put it in your salad. You could put it in pancakes. Or whatever you want, just mix it in your food and take it. It tastes great. Real easy to take. This is a little sweet. So if you're going to put in something savory, this might not be the best thing with it. But at least a scoop of each a day. Minimum amount of nutrients you should be taking every day. I can't imagine a day without it. And once people start taking it, they feel the same way. And it's funny because every now and then somebody will say, Doc, I'm on automatic reorder. I'm starting to get backed up. And I said, why are you getting backed up? You get one order a month. And they're like, I know, Doc, I've been bad about it. And every time I miss it, I feel terrible. And I said, so why don't you just start taking it again? Oh, okay. And then I start taking it again. It blows my mind. So anyway, so that stuff's on the website. All the supplements we talked about, the nitric oxide, the vitamin D, B complex, adrenal support, probiotics, all of those are on the website, drjoe.com. And folks, please, if you're not going to do anything else, at least take the Super Greens and the Essential Source. That's step one, always. And the vitamin D in the winter.
You know, a story that they might enjoy that I just heard from Johnny was kind of the start of Essential Source. how you got started making essential. And
Ah,
originally they were pills.
that's right. The
There was
original
red
pills.
and there was a blue.
It was a fruit and a vegetable pill, right? It was separate. And what I wanted to do is somebody asked me years ago, they said, Dr. Joe, what would you consider the ultimate supplement? And I said very offhandedly, which now created this whole supplement world, if somebody could take fruits and vegetables and put them in a pill, that would you'd get your essential nutrients from the source, which is fruits and vegetables. So that's where the name came from, essential source. The only creative thing I ever did. So originally put them in a pill, and then I thought, what if we need more? How can we make this less expensive and higher quality? So I sat down with some chemists in California, food chemists, and they said, if you put it in a powder, you don't have to compress it. It's going to be cheaper, and you're going to get more volume. So I said, oh, let's just do a powder. So I put the essential sources, fruits and vegetables, prebiotics, probiotics, digestive enzymes, and a complete multivitamin. Complete multivitamin.
There's more than that. You have a circulatory blend.
Oh yeah, we've got so much stuff in here. I mean, I can go on forever.
And something I didn't realize until we started working on it, all the supplement facts aren't on the one nutritional panel. That's just the multivitamin. Yeah,
Right.
That's just the multivitamin. All the proprietary blends.
Yeah, we don't
are
even have
separate
breakdown.
from
A fiber blend, we got a fruit and vegetable blend, we got a greens blend, we got an antioxidant blend, we got a clinical circulatory blend, digestive support blend, and a probiotics blend. All that's in here, and it's complete multi. So you're silly not to take this. I mean, I hate to be a jerk, but you're silly not to take this stuff. And then this alkalizes the system, loaded with minerals, wheatgrass, barley grass, and alfalfa grass. Somebody called up the other day, said, Dr. Joe, I'm gluten intolerant. I said, technically, we can't say this is gluten-free because it's made with wheat, but it's made with wheatgrass. And the wheatgrass doesn't produce the gluten, the berries do. So technically, it does have wheat, but I've never had anyone with gluten intolerance have problems with it. So, and then we add chlorella and spirulina, which is the purest form of omega-3 fatty acids in the world. Then we add dulse as an iodine source. So I can't imagine going a day without a scoop of each. And many times I'll take 2 scoops a day. If I have to go, like if I go out for a hike, if I got a bunch of radio shows, if I'm flying, if I'm traveling, sometimes I got to do radio shows, then I got to be a guest on a show, and then I got to go give a lecture, then I got to see patients. That stuff is just off the chart. So.
2 questions. First off, do you have plans for any more books?
No plans yet, but I have a real strong feeling that Garrett's going to start busting my back soon to get a new book out. So I no plans yet, but it'll happen. Yeah, Garrett's he's evil. He's over there work some more. So.
The other question would be, again, based on the title of the show, you went vegan. Did you go vegan solely for health reasons, or were there any ethical reasons that played a role?
Excellent question. Mine was solely for health reasons. It wasn't ethical. Now it's a nice bonus, and I certainly support the ethical approach to it. However, I went strictly for nutritional reasons. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Great question.
I had that question from Tina actually.
About me or about you?
About you.
Oh,
well, about me, and then also about you when she got to asking me.
Okay. Tina's another one about coworkers. So.
Yeah.
Maybe she's watching. Hi, Tina.
If she could give all of her money to an animal sanctuary, she would.
Uh-huh.
And I love her for it.
No, she's what a great heart. What a great person. We got a great crew. I said that to Damon the other day. I said, there's nobody in the crew right now that is just not, nobody's at the bottom of the list. They're all rocking.
Mm-hmm.
We did a great interview the other day. Hopefully this person will work out as well. She seemed spectacular. Almost too good to be true. I'm like, what's she up to? So, how you doing? Oh, you got to shut down Instagram, didn't you?
Not yet, but probably in just a minute.
Okay, so Instagram, we have to shut it down after an hour and turn it right back on. So we'll be right back when we shut it down. So.
Okay, 2 questions really fast before it shuts down. Do you know of anybody in the Seattle area for chiropractic care?
Probably, yes.
So we should call into the office or put a message.
Yeah.
I would send a message on the website, and then he can get back with you for that
Yes,
one.
because our syndicator syndicates our radio show, lives in Seattle, and he has a chiropractor he's happy with, so I'm going to have to refer you over there. Yeah.
And
I was
then
in Seattle a couple weeks ago. You should stop by and say hi.
What would you do another book on?
What do you want me to do another book on?
I think it'd be nice to do maybe not like a whole book, but a shorter book for just like smoothie recipes and things to do with the essential source and the super greens.
Okay, we can do that.
Game just ended. They're getting ready to go into post game now.
They'll do post game.
How long do you think post game will be?
20.
We're gonna guess about 30.
All right, let me keep you posted. So, all right, so somewhere around 8:30 probably we'll jump in for a half hour on the radio. But now we have this. So,
okay, and do you have any ideas about leading vegan-related trends in medicine for the coming new year.
Oh my God, yes. In fact, that's one of the things Dr. Oz and I talked about. Not on the air.
Okay,
Dr.
now Instagram's about to go off. We'll be right back.
So hold that thought.
Sorry.
Am I holding a thought? It hurts. It's a heavy thought.
Okay, now we're back.
We're back on again. Okay. The answer is absolutely yes. In fact, when I walked into Oz's studio again, it couldn't have been nicer. The producer said, okay, you and Dr. Oz are going to do a interview together, and it's going to be about 10 minutes. And I said, oh my gosh, that's great. Dr. Oz is going to interview me. And they said, no, you're going to interview him. And I said, what am I going to ask him? And I'm a little nervous. I don't get nervous, but I'm nervous around Dr. Oz. And they said, oh, just talk about anything. Mention the fact he's been on the air for 10 minutes. And in walks Dr. Oz, shakes my hand, and says, Joe, nice to meet you. I said, Dr. Oz, such a pleasure. They sit down, they set up the cameras. They said, okay, ready, go. That's literally how much time I had to think about interviewing Dr. Oz. And so I said, 10 years. And he starts talking about 10 years and how he got started. And we talked about Oprah and digestive issues.
Oprah and digestive issues.
Oprah and digestive issues, yes. We're going to air that interview, aren't we?
Yes.
Okay, when you air it, it's kind of funny. We talk about Oprah's digestive issues. Oz is very funny. He tells a funny story about that. And I said, what about trends in healthcare? I said, and we talked about the trends in natural healthcare just skyrocketing because a couple of problems. Number one is that I'm board certified in pain management. One of my degrees is in pain management. And I'm the only chiropractor, as far as I know, in the state who's board certified in pain management. So a lot of pain management docs come to me and say, Doc, we don't know what to do. And the problem with the opioid crisis is we can give them medication. The primary docs give them pain meds, send them to the pain management docs. They give them opioids, and then they can only give them so many opioids. And they could lose their license if they give out too many opioid prescriptions. And so they're stuck. They're hit a brick wall. They don't know what else to do. Then maybe they try physical therapy, but ultimately they don't know what else to do. So this year, I'm meeting with one of the top pain management doctors in the city. I think he has 8 or 16 clinics or whatever it is, and probably going to set up a referrals network where they're going to take those patients, send them to us, and we can do nutritional chiropractic with them. One of the major hospitals here, we haven't signed a contract yet, wants me to set up a clinic in the hospital to deal with chronic pain patients. So we've got a lot going on. So the trend in natural healthcare is just booming. This show, booming. So it's crazy the trends that are happening. Veganism has grown 500% in the past 2 years or something like that. I think 6 or 8% of the people now claim that they're vegans in this country. So yeah, you're definitely seeing the trends. And why? Because it works. It's inexpensive. It's very effective. Why wouldn't you do it? Doesn't make any sense to me as why people don't do it. So.
I couldn't believe the limit on opioids being prescribed over the counter. A buddy of mine, he was given 2 options. He hurt his ankle somehow, but the option was either I can send you home with only 3 actual pain pills, or I can send you home with a full bottle of muscle relaxers.
Right.
Now this won't do nearly as well, but you won't have to come back 5 times over the next 2 weeks.
Exactly, yes.
Yes.
And that's why we get referrals all the time from hospitals, medical doctors, nurses, orthopedists, neurologists. January 7th, I think I have a meeting with one of the big neurosurgical clinics, and they invited me in to talk about referral protocols. When do we refer out patients to chiropractors? So we have that meeting coming up. You can be there, Garrett? It's early in the morning. Got to get you up early on that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but I mean, talk about the trends. Oh my gosh, neurosurgeons inviting me, kidney specialist. There's a major kidney clinic here in Atlanta, and they have several clinics, and they're inviting me in to talk about referral protocols for kidney patients. Because if you have back pain and kidney pain, they do that test. Nothing's wrong with the kidneys. What do? That's it. They're done. So yeah, you're seeing the trends just skyrocketing, and this year's gonna be a big year. So.
One more question. We've already covered it tonight, but you can do another quick.
Okay.
Addicted to sugar and want to detox.
Yes.
Quick recommendations.
Keto.
Keto, yeah. Keto, no, not a ketogenic diet.
We have talked about sugar a lot tonight, though. A lot more than we normally do.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, it's hard to give up.
Sugar
especially
is,
around
oh my
holidays.
goodness.
I had
Candy?
that bread. I had bread at Christmas. You know what I wanted? More bread. I'm just like you.
Bread is Garrett is addicted to bread.
Isn't it scary? Like, I want more bread. I want more bread. I'll
I'm
put
not
vegan butter on it, but I want more bread. Yeah.
I'm not a big bread person. I'll eat sugar all day, but
Like if I see, I'm not a sugar fan, but
I
I'm a
think
bread
part
person.
of it's
Yeah.
just my
you can
jaw.
take the Reese's and you can take all the
No.
sugars and cakes and donuts.
Reese's
and
all day.
leave me my big loaf of bread.
He
Someday.
likes the cranberry. What is it like? Cranberry almond.
Cranberry almond loaf.
From
When
Costco?
we go up to New York, and I take you to the bakery. There's a place it's called Rockland Bakery. It's just over the New Jersey border in New York. Huge bakery, and you can actually take the bread out of the oven Like it's
Oh,
so
wow.
hot you can't even touch it. You don't know what bread is. You've never had bread until you've had this. But anyway, back to your question. Well, I digress. It takes about 3 or 4 days for the brain to reset itself. So you got to stop. Just like alcohol, just like drugs, you got to stop doing it. So what you can do is Super Greens and Essential Source. A lot of people report that when they take Super Greens and Essential Source, they don't have those. It helps with the cravings. Number 2, we have a supplement at the office. It's not a Dr.Joe supplement. It's called Gymnema. And Gymnema helps stabilize blood sugar. And if you chew on a tablet, it doesn't taste good. But what it does is it cuts the cravings. And you could eat anything sweet after taking a Gymnema tablet. It has no flavor at all. So you got to eat a high fiber diet. You got to give your body a ton of nutrients. So Super Greens and Essential Source, at least 1 salad a day, something raw at every meal. The Gymnema would be great, and cinnamon is very good too. If you take about a teaspoon of cinnamon and put it into Super Greens and Essential Source, great for stabilizing the blood sugar.
When's the next time you're going to do a speaking engagement?
You know, we talked about that, and we haven't done that. When are we going to do a live one? You set it up, and I'll be there. How about that?
Yeah.
All right.
So anybody, if you've got an event that you would like to see Dr. Joe at, Tina and I will be working on getting Dr. Joe into a couple of events. But if you've got something that maybe we haven't heard of,
Or
Yeah,
just a
just-
venue that you want him to speak at.
yeah,
Well, you got to make sure. Don't have me show up for 5 or 6 people, folks. I don't want to be a jerk, but I've done this in the past, and you got to put together an event, okay? And we can talk about Life Grocery. I know we're probably due to give a lecture at Life Grocery. We haven't done there in a while. But corporations, a lot of corporations hire us as speakers, and we come in and do wellness programs for the employees, and they love it because it increases productivity, which everyone loves if we can skyrocket productivity. Some insurance companies, if you're an HR director, you can call your insurance company, see if they give a discount on your insurance for having a wellness program. I could be a wellness program. So there's a lot of things we can do about that. But what I want you to do is send us your email address. Just go to the website and send us your email address. And when we have the events coming up, Garrett is going to send out a newsletter. And we're not going to give out your email address. Don't worry. We don't bombard you with a bunch of junk. But when we have events or special breakout lectures, we'll have that. So we need your email address in order to get on that list.
Yeah, I'm lazy. I only send out maybe 1 email a month.
Yeah, no, I don't beat them up. I gotta get working more.
And we missed Veg Fest this year, though.
We weren't invited.
Yeah,
Isn't that crazy?
weird.
I can't tell you how many people called me up and said, "Why are you not here?" I said, "I didn't get invited." And they were just like losing their minds. Like, "I'm not going. If you're not going to be there, I'm not going to go." So unfortunately, I think they lost a ton of business and a lot of money because they expected me to be the headliner, but I wasn't there. So.
Alan Hunt says, stand up tall, put your chest out, and smile.
Thank you, Alan Hunt. You're absolutely right. I was hunching there. Thank you. And I don't want to disrespect Alan Hunt. Alan Hunt is a very big man. So Well, you're right, Alan. Thank you very much. I was kind of getting a little lazy here.
Oh,
So.
that's...
Alan,
okay.
Alan, yes. Don't want to get Alan mad.
The man's beard is older than me.
That's right. My socks are older than you. Who are you kidding? So.
Okay, we got a few on YouTube that have been waiting around. So I have the wellness booster. Do I dose it by drops or dropper full?
Dropper fulls.
And does it expire? Yes.
Everything expires, but it's, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That one, which one? The wellness booster is an alcohol base, so I don't think it would expire. It's probably going to take years.
It's going to take a while, but we have to put an expiration date on it. Just use it. Don't worry about it expiring. Just use it. Yeah.
Yeah, if you use it as it suggests, and you get sick 3, maybe 4 times a year, that alone will knock out a whole bottle.
It's pretty amazing, yeah. Mm-hmm. That's the wellness booster, not seasonal tonic. Wellness booster I take every day. So somebody walking by, I don't know who it is.
Yeah, so actually, and here we go. Wellness Booster, Seasonal Tonic, Super Greens, and Essential Source have saved me from the doctor this season with bronchitis all around me. Love
There you
Dr. Joe.
You're welcome. Thank you for that plug there. Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember the last time I got sick, and I have people drop around me, you know, here at the studio, and patients, and it was just, they know I'm going to show up no matter what. Even my bosses are like, well, we know you're going to be there. So
I would love to continue to say that, you know, I don't see anybody getting sick around the office, but we did have a couple people get sick. None of the vegans, though.
None of the vegans. We have several vegans. We're about, what, 40% vegan now?
Yeah, we're getting
About 40% vegan, and the vegans are not getting sick. Just saying.
What's the best vegan substitute for eggs?
Follow Your Heart has a good one. That's probably the one I'd recommend. Follow Your Heart. You can actually make like scrambled eggs out of it. Now, what's funny is I made them one day thinking this is going to be great, and I just don't want to eat eggs anymore, even though they're not even real eggs. But Follow Your
Yeah.
Heart has a good one. Yeah.
We feel the same
That's a
way.
problem with the vegan burgers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's,
I don't want to eat burgers. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like black bean burgers better than I like the Beyond Meat burgers
Uh-huh.
because it tastes like a real burger, and I didn't like that before
Yeah.
I went vegan.
Right, exactly. That's kind of why we went vegan. Yeah. So.
But what about as like a baking or a cooking?
Follow Your Heart's great. There's one called Energy, I think it is. That's a good egg substitute as well. So, yeah. So,
Oh, so they have eggs that you can cook, bake with?
yeah,
Like vegan stuff?
absolutely.
Oh,
Oh, yeah,
wow.
sure.
Me and Garrett are behind the game.
Yeah,
Man.
we've tried everything. We tried pureed avocado.
Chia seeds.
Chia-
Oh, yeah, I've tried that.
It does not work.
No.
We
Egg
had
substitutes
hard
work.
brownies.
Yeah, right. So,
Bananas hasn't been bad.
yeah.
But you have to blend up the banana pretty
Yeah,
well, and it needs
or it
to
has
be pretty
to be
ripe.
like an older
They're
banana.
pretty
Yeah,
brown
got to be ripe and
banana.
everything. Yeah, try to Follow Your Heart. I think you'll like that one. I've been to the Follow Your Heart started as a little kind of like a co-op in Los Angeles, and then they have a restaurant in the back, off the chart. Oh my gosh, it's great.
yes. That's
Johnny
what
was
talking
telling.
about.
Yeah, he was talking.
red
Yeah,
door.
oh yeah, Follow Your Heart. Yeah. And it's just still this old kind of hippie, still has that old feel co-op too. It hasn't gone mainstream, but it's great. Yeah, and they've got the Follow Your Heart mayonnaise,
Yeah, we use the
veganese, and
mayo.
stuff like that. Yeah.
Soy free. Is that what we get? The soy free?
Yeah, they've got sour cream and they've got cheeses. And they've really become a big, big supplier of vegan food and started out as a little co-op. Pretty cool.
Is that the vegan mayonnaise we get?
Yeah, that's what I just said.
Oh, okay. Sorry,
You're all
I'm over here reading.
What's the matter for you? You don't listen to her.
Never.
Yeah, never actually. At least not the first time.
That's right. After she smacks you a few times. See, it's fun. You don't see this, but we have a window right here, and everybody at the studio is the business end of the studios are out there. So everybody walks by, always waves. There's Dr. Joe.
And the same security guys here.
Same security guy, man. Good for him, man. He's always making his rounds.
Yeah, he's here every Sunday. I'm here. I see
That's why
him.
he's skinny, man. He's out there walking
Yep.
constantly. He's a real nice fella.
WSB.
Oh, there you go. That's what it looks like. Okay, that's our window that we see all day. More questions, thoughts, comments?
Let me
Should
see
be coming
what-
up on radio soon. So
Do you take Dr. Joe's Mega Liquid D3 with K2, considering that it is not vegan? If not, which vegan D3 do you recommend?
there are several different D3s that you can take. I like this one, and the reason we didn't go with the vegan one is because the cost. The vegan ones are more expensive. So we sat down, we thought about it, and we thought, well, yeah, we could do it, but it's the same product. So if you want to go vegan, there are some vegan ones out there. I can't think of a brand name right now, but there's a lot of good companies out there that have them. But the reason we did this is keep it more
Do you take the Dr. Joe one?
I do take it, actually, yes. More questions, thoughts, comments?
Alan said, "Hey, Garrett."
Hey, Alan.
Hey, bud.
Am I better, Alan? Is this better? Okay. If this is the case, Sierra, you need to remind me. Sierra's my little reminder.
I try.
She tells me to slow down. Whenever I see her, I think, okay, am I standing up straight? Am I slowing down? So if this is good, Alan, let her know.
Smile.
And they get smiles.
That's what Johnny always told me. Smile.
Never forget when I first got on the air, Kelly McCoy, I don't know if you remember that name, he found me. I was on another radio station, and he brought me over here to Cox Media. And I'll never forget the first time I was on the air, because I talk a little fast sometimes. And he comes up to the window, and here I am, new guy, sweating. I'm surrounded by, Clark Howard and Neil Bortz and Herman Cain, and we have Rush Limbaugh, who is on our station as well, and Pete Spriggs, and I mean all these amazing powerhouses in radio with the #1 station. There's banners all over the place, #1 station so many times. We've won it this year again, #1 station. So you're with the best of the best here at WSB. And Kelly McCoy's in the Radio Show Hall of Fame, and I'm like nervous even just, now he's my very good friend. But he holds a note up to the window. It says, "Slow the F down." And I'm right in the middle of doing a show, and I'm like, trying not to laugh. But I'll never forget it. So what else?
Right now, Instagram is reconnecting. I don't know.
We lost Instagram. Sorry. Oh, we can't say that.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes we get some interference just from the cell phone signal, not the internet.
Oh, okay.
But
Got it.
sometimes the cell phone signal gets some interference from all
Yeah.
the dishes.
We got a lot of stuff going on in this studio here. We got 4 radio stations, TV station, internet. Yeah, it's a big corporation here. Cox
There's
Media.
more than one TV station.
Oh, it's just channel 2 up there.
I thought does channel 2 just run the lottery on a separate.
Yeah, that's a whole. Yeah, we do the lottery here. All those numbers that you are, the
The
$1 billion.
lottery is on channel 2.
Yeah, but the actual place that they draw it in the country is in this building. And I remember one time I walked into the room. I was going to meet my friend Sabrina, and some guy comes running to me. Who are you? I was like, I'm sorry. And they're really strict about who goes into the lottery room because obviously they don't want any tampering or anything like that. But it's really cool. Like when they had that like $1 billion ticket, it was drawn here. So. Anything
Should
else?
I end the Instagram video? Oh no, because people are still joining. It's paused, but it still says reconnect.
I don't know
I'll take
Instagram.
a look. Why don't you tell everybody your going vegan story?
Who?
You.
Why?
You. Hey, you went to school for this.
What? Okay.
That's
You're
Sierra
the-
speaking, by the way.
You're the one that cooks.
Yeah. Well, I never really planned on going vegan. I was never really a big meat eater to begin with. Chicken was the only meat that I ever really enjoyed eating. But Garrett was always all about the health, and so he was always talking about being vegan. And so one day I was finally like, why don't we just do it? Like, we gotta stop talking about it and just do
Just
it.
do it. Yeah, it's not hard.
And I mean, we slip up every now and then, and even though it's like the food is good, it's definitely not worth it the next day in the bathroom. You definitely feel it.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I think that I love cooking, so cooking vegan. Oh, that's me. Cooking vegan is definitely like it's a great challenge. I love like watching a cooking video on Facebook and then trying to mimic the flavors into like vegan cuisine and like using mushrooms and stuff like that to mimic flavors. It's fun. It's a challenge, but when we first went vegan, I told Garrett all the time, I was like, I just can't do this. I was like, I'm not full. Like, I haven't been full in 2 months. Like,
Yeah.
how do you do this? But it probably took about 2.5 to 3 months of like,
Yeah.
and then you get used to it. Your stomach gets used to it. And then if you do, like, if I eat like bread and pasta and stuff like that, I just feel like,
Blown up. Yeah.
yeah.
It's crazy, isn't it? Yeah. Well, your body does change. In fact, your bacteria in your colon changes. Your digestive enzymes change. So everything does change when you change your diet. You adapt to the food you're eating. So it may take a little bit. People, I don't feel full. I understand that. Well, they add a little oil to it then. Maybe add some beans to it or something like that.
Yeah, beans helped a lot.
Beans helped, and then oils will make you feel full too. And then eventually you don't even need that anymore.
And drinking
she's
water.
also the type that like her mood is determined by whether or not she's eating.
Yeah.
Ah.
So when
Yeah,
she was
I
not
get hangry.
full, when she was not full, that was a solid like 2 months there in the beginning of just nothing but.
Yeah,
just
because I
fighting
was
back.
always hungry, and no matter how much I ate, I never felt full. But it was because I was used to feeling that like bloated, heaviness.
heavy feel, yeah.
And then now that I don't feel that, and like now if I do eat cheese, I'm just like, oh, feels like there's a rock in my stomach.
Yeah. No, it's pretty amazing. Yeah, and you will change, and it just, why feel that way? Why not have energy all the time? Why not feel
Yeah.
great all the time?
Exactly.
You know, I don't want to celebrate by having a piece of meat and then feel awful. Like you said, if you
Exactly.
cheat, you feel awful. Why do that? Because why feel awful? I don't drink. And the reason I don't drink is I don't like the way it makes me feel. I like the flavor. I mean, I enjoy it. You know, I was like girly drinks like pina coladas and slow gin fizzes and stuff, but I just didn't like the way it felt. So I said I just stopped doing it. That was a while ago, many, many years ago.
Oh, this is a great question. Thank
Go
you,
ahead.
Misty. Dr. Joe, can you talk a minute about some of the common hidden animal products and packaged foods that we should watch out for? For
Oh.
example, whey, dry milk.
Oh, absolutely. Whey and like I said, L-cysteine. You know, can come from duck feathers and yeah. So there are some hidden things in there. That's really a good point. And that's why some foods. I was just saying this today, as a matter of fact, talking to somebody about food that's accidentally vegan. Like Oreo cookies, for example, they're accidentally vegan. They're not meant to be vegan, but they happen to be. Now, some things say that they're not vegan. They are vegan or they're vegetarian, and they're not. You know, I remember I was talking to Ahmad earlier about when I was up in Baltimore one time. The Baltimore Ravens were just playing. And I said, I met somebody there, and we went to Little Italy. They have a Little Italy there, and they had this amazing Italian dish. It was gnocchi, and I said, it's marinara sauce, no animal products, absolutely no. I said, vegan. You know that word vegan? Yes, it's vegan. It's great. And it was very tasty. And at the end, I said, what's in your sauce? And they said, well, it's, you know, it's we use paste, we use tomatoes, we use garlic, we use onions, we use beef broth. So that's Misty as a hidden, you know, they didn't even understand that that's an animal product, is beef broth. So it is hidden in a lot of different things, and that's why you need to read the ingredients. So the rule I follow for ingredients, what I try to teach you, is if you can't pronounce it, don't eat it. It's a real simple thing.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
When I'm going to Whole Foods, I look at the label and I'm like, oh, yep, don't know what that says.
Don't know
Can't
what
eat
that is. Got to skip it. Now, sometimes you may pass up something that's okay, like cyanocobalamin or something like that would be vitamin B12. Yeah, that's okay. You're going to miss a few here and there, but generally speaking, it's usually in there. And it could be beef broth. It could be natural flavoring. So got to think a little bit. It is tricky. So I know
have a really funny segment using the bell and trying to pronounce some of the crazy things on the food packages.
That's what we should do, yes. All right, so folks, here's one for you for next week. Come up with some real words. Don't make up words because I don't want Garrett's brain to explode. Some real words, some real ingredients. We'll see if Garrett gets a bell for pronouncing it right, okay?
I like it.
Yeah, if you've never watched this is the game we play. Whenever Garrett has a tough question and he says it right, he gets a bell ring. So, but that's a real good question, and they do hide a lot of things in food, unfortunately. And why? Like, why put that in there? It doesn't make sense.
Well, for me, even thinking about Oreos not being vegan, they're cream filled.
Yeah.
How are they not? How are
No,
they not
what is
using
that?
it? Like, how is it not
What's
actual
the cream?
Like,
Originally, they did coconut oil.
Ah.
Okay, and they would whip it up that way, but now they use something that's less expensive, some hydrogenated oils, whatever it is. So,
And sweet chili Doritos are also vegan. They're the only vegan.
sweet chili Doritos.
Yes,
I
they're
wouldn't even
purple
think
bag.
to eat
They are
that.
the only vegan Doritos.
There you go. See?
I learned that before I was vegan from one of my friends that was vegan, and now that I am, I'm like, if I ever need like a cheesy snack.
We were at Trader Joe's, my
do.
friend Johnny and they have corn chips that are vegan and organic, and boy, they taste just like the commercial corn chips, and they were really good. And we made big pots of tomato sauce. Johnny and I, he's Italian, and so we cooked up and we like dipping the corn chips in the sauce. It's really good. Ain't good.
I wanted to make a vegan lasagna with the sauce you gave us.
Oh, he just made one today, as a
I
matter of
haven't
fact.
had time yet.
Yeah, he wants to bring it into the office either tomorrow or Wednesday.
I don't think Garrett will have any oppositions to that.
No argument there.
What do we
Vegan
use?
lasagna.
Oh yeah.
There's one
Oh,
called
yeah.
Kite Hill. They make a nice ricotta, which is nice.
Oh, that's what he was talking about. Was making a vegan ricotta.
Yeah, which he did. Yeah. Now you can also use tofu if you wanted to. Use tofu,
Yeah,
and you can
tofu
blend it with
ricotta.
some parsley, some peppers, some vegan cheeses if you want, and that comes out really good too, and really rich, but so rich. It's like because they're not used to eating those heavy foods. So yeah, you can do that too, and you could use gluten-free pastas. Tinkiata is a really good brand, by the way. They make a really good gluten-free pasta.
Off topic, but
Yes.
great question.
Yes.
What's the dangers of EMFs? What are
Oh
the
my gosh,
dangers
how much
of
time we
EMFs?
got? Electromagnetic frequencies. They're really, really dangerous because what happens is the way the EMFs work is they get into the cells and they open up what's called the calcium channels. So you have calcium that can get into your cells to make the cell work properly. But what the EMFs do is they open up the calcium channels and dump mega doses of calcium into the blood and, for example, the heart. So when mega doses of calcium get into the heart, it creates something called free radicals. Free radicals are like Pac-Man, they eat through things. And so you get these EMFs, electromagnetic frequencies, open up calcium channels, calcium dumps in, electromagnetic free radicals are produced, they attack the DNA, they attack the mitochondria, and they can actually destroy or alter the DNA in the cells. So that's how they work. We always knew they were bad, but new research just out shows that that's why they're bad. So when it comes to cell phones, don't carry them, ladies, in your bra, or gentlemen, in your front pocket. Don't put them in your front pocket of your pants, right next to your genitals. I carry my cell phone in my hand, and when I get my car, I have a little magnet on my dashboard because in Georgia it's a hands-free state, and I put it there, and that's it. And my cell phone in my room is in another room at night. When the alarm goes off, it's in my bathroom. I have to get up and then turn it off. So you definitely want to keep those electromagnetic frequencies out of your life. I have a timer on my Wi-Fi at home, and right around 9, 10 o'clock, I think it's 10 o'clock, it shuts off, and it doesn't come on again until 7 in the morning, so that I'm not sleeping surrounded by electromagnetic frequencies. And that goes for electric blankets as well. Don't do that.
How is the audio?
Yeah, they said that it wasn't working, so I directed them to Facebook
Kitty
and
Kylie.
YouTube.
Walking by.
They said that it kept pausing or breaking up.
Instagram?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I said you can watch the same thing on Facebook or YouTube.
Yeah, follow us. If you're on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and Instagram, follow us on Facebook. And this way, in case something happens, you can always catch us on the other route. And make sure you send us your email address so we can put you on a list.
And thank you to the person from Instagram that jumped to YouTube to tell me that Instagram was working.
Thank you, yeah. And by the way, folks, if you want to make an appointment to come see us, we're a chiropractic team. We have offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge, in the Atlanta area. We would love to be your doctors. We want to work on the nervous system, want to work on your digestive system, want to work on your diet. So if you have problems, neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, if you've ever been in a car accident, ever, if the car was damaged, you were damaged 100% of the time. You're not stronger than your car. So stop suffering needlessly. So many people come to us every day and say, why didn't I do this sooner? Why did I suffer for so long? So go to the website, drjoe.com. You can call, when we're not on the air, 844-44-Dr.Joe. Make an appointment. And in most cases, you're going to be very happy. But here's the thing. If you make an appointment, you got to do what we say. Don't expect to come in 1 or 2 visits and go, I'm not better yet. Yeah, I know. I'm telling you that right now. You don't have to tell me. I'm telling you that right now. And if you're not happy with something, tell us so we can fix it. Our goal is to give you the best service possible, but we have to have a relationship.
And
So
you have to tell them what's wrong.
Yeah.
Thank
If you don't
It's
tell
a
them what
talk.
part of your body is hurting, they're just gonna do the normal stuff.
Right. People, I went there twice. My headaches didn't go away. Would you tell us you had headaches? No. Okay, well, there are certain things we can check for headaches that we wouldn't do on a standard exam. We may have to do a little extra. So tell us, exactly. Sierra's right. Tell us
So
what's wrong.
the two biggest problems I had when I first started chiropractic
Same.
care was, one, I was more sore the first few days that I got chiropractic care. I was more sore in the first couple of weeks
Uh-huh.
than I was before I started chiropractic care.
Right.
And beyond just that, until I started talking and communicating like more,
Yeah.
because obviously, I mean, I work there, so when I go in for treatment, it's a little more casual.
Right.
It's somebody that I'm there, I'm working with all the time. So we're just talking about other things.
Yeah, just lay down and get adjusted.
But I started kind of focusing more. Dr. Irwin made me do it, actually.
Mhm.
He set me down and he said, okay, what's your treatment plan? Like,
Yeah.
who's doing what?
Right.
And I said, oh, okay, I don't know.
I had to start doing that with Dr.
So,
Gale when I
Yeah,
got
so
sick.
Dr. Irwin stopped me and he helped me figure out, what are the main key problems? Where should we start?
Uh-huh.
How should we start? And then I've carried that over to several other doctors that we have in the
Yeah,
office.
you're your patient too, yeah. And that's why you got to communicate with us. So don't expect miracles if you're not working with us. And the diet, that's why we do diet so strongly, because we want to get you well fast. If you're dumping a bunch of monosodium glutamate in your head and you're getting headaches, well, we can give you the best chiropractic care in the world, but you may not be getting rid of headaches because you're doing a chemical reaction. So, where are we on this?
Buy Mercedes-Benz vans built for you.
It's commercial, so I don't know. Yeah, so please tell us and make your appointments. It's not just for you, your friends and your family and your children. Because if children have a straight spine, they grow straight. If it's a crooked spine, they grow crooked. So we love the fact that we see so many patients that are children in our offices. We're very child-friendly, from infant all the way up. And it's so exciting when kids get well because the parents, of course, as a parent, you want to do the best you can for your child. And the parents say it, why didn't I bring my son in sooner? Why did I bring my daughter in sooner? Why did I make him suffer so long?
You actually had a shout out from your 4-year-old patient.
I did?
Yeah.
Cool. Hi, 4-year-old. But it's really neat, and one patient came in real bad scoliosis, and the doctors, the only thing they knew to do, and I'm not picking on the medical profession, please, but they said, well, let's schedule for surgery. And she's like 14 years old, and her spine was really crooked. And I explained to the mother and the father, it's probably a psoas contracture. The psoas is a muscle that runs from your spine to your leg. And I said it, and then I checked her, and sure enough, her psoas was all spasmed. So her body leaned to one side, and then it corrected itself, and there was a scoliosis. And as soon as we started to work on the psoas muscle, the girl said, wow, I feel better. I feel looser. And so hopefully she's still young enough. We can get the psoas worked out, straighten out the spine the best we can. She won't need the surgery. And that usually is the case.
That's how it was with my jaw. I
That's
went to after Garrett and I got in a pretty bad car accident, I went to a TMJ specialist, and they told me that the cartilage had been pulled forward,
Mhm.
and that there was only soft tissue blocking my joint, so I was gonna have to get surgery to use fat as a replacement for the cartilage.
Uh-huh.
But ever since I've been seeing Dr. Gale, I have better range of motion. I can open my mouth.
Yeah.
I can finally eat. I used to not even eat that much just because chewing was it hurt to chew.
Mhm.
But I can tell if I miss a chiropractor for a week, I'm like, oh, I can
Coming back.
Yeah.
By the way, her entire mood being based on whether or not she eats. She would sit down to eat a sandwich and forget that she couldn't open her mouth all the way. And she would just immediately slam the burger down, slam whatever the sandwich is, just slam it down.
I couldn't even take a bite out of a sandwich because it was just a little I couldn't even put 2 fingers in my mouth before I started going to the chiropractor.
And again, it's not the doctor's fault. That's all they know.
Mhm.
They know that if you have this, you need surgery. If you have this scoliosis, you need surgery. they don't even consider options. And that's why somebody asked earlier, what's the trend in healthcare? The trend is that these doctors don't want to operate on these people. They don't want to do jaw surgery because jaw surgery, if they mess it up, oh my gosh. And they don't want that either. So what's happening now is the doctor's going, oh, there are alternatives. I'm not even aware of that. That's why the neurosurgical clinic has us coming in on January 7th to discuss a referral protocol because they don't even think about it as a referral option.
Now, as far as scoliosis, if I don't have back pain,
Uh-huh.
but do have scoliosis, would I still should I want or need to get treatment?
Absolutely. If you have the scoliosis, and that's why if you hunch over, if you're leaning one side, if one hip's higher than the other, one
Yeah.
shoulder's higher than the other.
He says he doesn't have back pain, but he always has his hip poked up.
Yeah, so it doesn't have to
Always.
hurt.
Oh, I have back pain. That was the question.
Because remember, 90%
I
of the
thought you were
nerves,
talking about yourself.
90% of your nerves don't feel pain. So you can have a pinched nerve and not know it. And in fact, 90% of the time, that's the case. And that's why people get such amazing results with chiropractic for things like breathing and blood pressure and digestion and reproductive capabilities
And sleeping.
sleeping.
I never even realized how poorly I slept until I started getting adjusted.
Amazing.
And
Yeah.
I started just waking up in the morning like, wow, I actually got a good night's sleep
How about that?
for the
Now-
first time.
Have you ever had a foot detox? Have you ever detoxed your foot?
Oh, with the baths and everything?
I don't know.
Yeah, you can put in a bath and yeah. And I've had it done. I don't know. I'm not saying no, it doesn't work, but I don't know if it does work or not either. I've had it done and I don't know. And somebody loaned me a foot bath, and I put my feet in it. All this black stuff came out. Oh my gosh, that's your liver, that's your spleen, blah blah blah. And then I said, let me try experiment. And I turned it on. I cleaned it really well, and I turned it on, and the water turned the same color. So I don't know if it was my feet, was the thing just built up junk? I don't know, and I don't have that answer, so I don't have enough research on that. Certainly not going to hurt you. So,
Closest thing I ever did was I have stinky feet,
uh-huh.
and I used to soak my feet in like one of those little pans,
Uh-huh.
and I would fill it up with black tea, and the tea would dry out the
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Nothing wrong with it. Absolutely. I mean, it's one of those safe things. There's certainly no side effects to it except health. So
Now, what is your opinion on cannabidol, CBD?
CBD oils. Hey, we hadn't had that question yet, have we?
Yes.
We haven't had erectile dysfunction. That's our next question. That's our third question. We just did a segment on that on the von Hessler doctrine. Thursday? Friday.
Yeah,
Friday.
That was Friday morning.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, the cells have we found this thing called cannabinoid system. We scientists have found it. And the cannabinoid system, there's what?
Instagram is
Oh, it's
being
getting weird.
moody again.
Yeah, there's cell receptors for cannabinoids in the cells, and what gets into the cell, it can calm down the cell and block pain. So I'm perfectly fine with CBD oil. I don't have a problem with it at all. Now, once again, don't use it as the end-all be-all because it's still treating the symptoms. It's not treating the cause. And that's why you want to get chiropractic care. You want to get good supplements like Super Greens, an essential source. We have probiotics, prebiotics, adrenal support, vitamin D. We have a bunch of supplements that I recommend, and we try to customize a plan for each patient. So we want to get on supplements, you want to eat right, you want to get chiropractic care, fix your digestive system, and then many times you don't need the CBD oil or whatever the drug is because we fix the cause, not the symptoms. But I'm not here to take you off your drugs. I'm here to get you well so you don't need the drugs.
Yeah, I've used CBD oil. It's not CBD oil. I've used like a CBD topical for everything from sprained ankles to.
When I got sick and I had the arthritis, I did the tincture and the topicals where it was really bad, and it helped a lot. And it's just better than taking Advil and.
Sure. I don't have a problem with it at all. Just make sure it's a good
acetaminophen.
brand because if you get, there's a lot of fakes out there. You try to fake it didn't work. Oh, CBD oil didn't work. No.
Yeah.
I always say chiropractic almost always works. The chiropractor doesn't always work, but chiropractic always works.
And actually, what we were talking about on the Von Hessler show was pesticides in the marijuana world.
Yes, and there's
So
so
they're,
many.
they're
yes.
using pesticides, and then these companies are popping up the same time that. So I'll back up and say that for the amount of testing that needs to be done for all the pot shops out there, there's not enough testing facilities.
Right.
And
Exactly.
it costs too much money, so there's way too much money to be made for others not to pop up.
Yes,
So
exactly.
these guys are popping up and selling tests to these different pot shops or growers, even if it's CBD,
Right.
and they're signing off on it being good when it may not actually be a foolproof test.
Exactly, yeah. So it's like, oh yeah, it's fine, test is fine, but it may not be a valid test. So
Yeah. And
it's,
there's-
again, it's the wild, wild west right now with CBD oil. There's not a lot of regulations. It's not, there's some unethical folks out there making a buck off it. So just be careful.
Yeah.
So again, just to get to the cause of the problem, and hopefully you won't need it, as we feel with all medication.
I've got bilateral sciatic pain.
Yes.
How do I get relief?
It's probably a pinched nerve in the low back. In fact, I know it's a pinched nerve in the low back. Now the question is, what's causing it? Is it a swollen disc? Is it a bone out of place? Is it a facet syndrome? Is it a muscle spasm? Could be the psoas spasmed. So that's something you probably want to come see us, and we'll take a look at it for you. So just go to the website, drjoe.com, or you can call us when we're not on the air, 844-44-Dr.Joe, and we'll get you in.
Have you seen the trend in black seed oil?
Black seed oil is another trend now, yes. It's the end-all be-all until the next end-all be-all comes along.
Well, the grass is always greener.
Yeah,
until
and I'm
they-
fine with it. Oh, by the way, if you want to come in tomorrow, I know somebody's just sent me a message on my on the website. The answer is yes, we are open tomorrow, but call first because we're really busy. But the afternoon's a little lighter, so if you want to come in around 3 o'clock, with that's a time we can work in actually. So, because where are we?
Indeed.com/hire.
A lot of commercials today. So
I have a question. Do you have what would you recommend for a baby who doesn't breastfeed, like formula wise or?
that's a tough one actually because I get that question a lot, and I'm not a big fan of soy, but it's a heck of a lot better than cow's milk.
Yeah.
So breast milk is number one. If you're going to do any other formula, it's got to be organic. It has to be organic, and I would certainly make sure the baby's blood work is checked. If they need vitamin D, I'd add vitamin D to it. And then once they're able to start taking solid foods, Super Green's an essential source. You don't have to give them an adult size, maybe a quarter size dose, and mix it in with their food. Absolutely. But breastfeeding, of course, is always the best. There's no question about that.
And speaking of milk,
Yes?
what is your take on the A1 and A2 protein found in cow's milk?
Well,
Is one easy to digest?
One is easier to digest. However, it's still cow's milk. It still has casein. It still has, usually has steroids and hormones and chemicals and pesticides and herbicides. If it's not organic, it still has lactose, and lactose is a sugar that we don't have the enzyme called lactase to break down. So is it easier? Probably to digest, but I'm still not a big fan.
So yes, there's a trend for A2 only protein cow's milk.
Yeah, exactly. That's what the trend is going into. Yeah. So and I'm okay with that, but it's still not solving the problem. It's making the problem a little less
Severe.
bad.
Its first conference went.
Okay.
I'm always apprehensive when they start separating things.
Well, it comes from different cows. That's why. Certain cows produce different types of proteins, and so they
Like certain breeds of cows?
certain breeds of cows, yeah, produce the
Oh.
A1 or the A2 protein. That's
I
where it
didn't
comes
know
from. That's why
interesting.
you should listen to the show. It's pretty good. If you go to my website, drjoe.com, we have over 1,000 hours of podcasts, and you can watch or learn. There you go.
For those that don't know, I did just start about 4.5 months ago.
In the end of August or middle of August?
Yeah, Garrett's been with us about 4.5, doing a spectacular job, by the way, may I say. Yes, and he's the one who also operates a good portion of the website, so that's why I'm picking on him, of course. But
It
no,
is
there's always
at
new
my
stuff.
fingertips.
That's right.
Which, by the way, speaking of me starting out here, one of the first things I did was get this live stream up and going.
That's Garrett's hand.
But I do appreciate everybody for sticking it out through everything. We started out with a phone leaning up against the printer that you see to Dr. Joe's right, and that was just for Instagram. And we did get quite a bit of good feedback, and we've put a lot more effort into it. And
We went from that to a Mevo camera to actual real live grown-up cameras, and so yeah, we've come a long way. And even us.
All right, so once we're getting right in our last break now. So once they come back, they're gonna start wrapping up. So once they get out, I'll come to you and just take it to the top.
Okay. Give me the out time.
9.
Yeah, we'll have about
9:01.
10 minutes on the air today. About a 2-hour show. It's all right. Boss say do it, we do it.
Well, technically, you can go all the way to 59.59 because they have no spots logged because they to account for the game.
Cool.
Go.
Okay. Good. So we go right to 9 o'clock. Yay. That gives us an extra 3 minutes.
The indigenous cow found in India produces only A2 protein milk.
There you go. Now we know. So, yeah, it's like I said, it's probably better. It still doesn't solve the problem, though. So, of not drinking milk. And it's so funny.
Oh, and speaking of well, actually, speaking of nothing, just being vegan, we did shoot a video. Dr. Joe and I shot a video the other day of trying vegan cheeses, which will be up sometime in the new year.
Yes, we did a little taste testing on vegan cheeses, and
And
they were
it
really
was
good.
very good.
Yeah, they were really good.
It made me realize that maybe I can be vegan.
Stay vegan.
Stay vegan.
Stay vegan.
Yeah.
Oh, what's funny is what'll happen is I don't even miss cheese anymore. It's like, I can do a vegan, mozzarella and put it on a, cauliflower crust with some marinara sauce or something, and I enjoy that. But I don't have to have cheese every day. I don't think about cheese.
Well, it's just sometimes I
You and
crave.
Johnny both take me back. You say mozzarella and his marinara. Like
Yeah.
it takes me a minute. You say it, and then it takes me, and I'm like,
Yes.
oh, that's what he's talking
That's what I
about.
mean, yeah. Yes, it's ricotta, not regut. I was trained it was regut. When I came down here, people say ricotta, and I was like, these people don't know how to talk. Well, it turns out I was wrong. Ricotta is the right way of pronunciation, and mozzarella is correct. We always say mozzarella.
Yeah.
We didn't say the yeah. But that was the bastardization of the Italian language that we learned from our parents, who learned from their parents, who came from Italy. So even the curse words I had wrong. My uncles would curse in Italian, then I'd say it, and people like speak Italian, like that's not even a word. What are you talking about?
My mom does the same thing with Spanish and like Mexican slang.
Oh yeah, the Castellano versus the guttural Mexican. Yeah, the Castellano Spanish people, they don't want to talk that
No.
Central American.
And then there's Portuguese.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Portuguese can understand Spanish, but Spanish can't understand Portuguese.
Yeah, we were watching some show and this lady was speaking Portuguese, and it's like I want to understand her, but I can't.
Yeah, it's
Like,
close. Yeah.
It's close, but it just doesn't
Here
make
we go.
sense.
Hold on.
You've been listening to the Locker Room
Okay.
Report. Presented by
Yes.
So once they finish with this billboard, I'll play your open and
Got it. Okay. Got to go to radio, folks. Keep hanging on. If you have any questions, send them to the website, drjoe.com. Make an appointment at drjoe.com. Order all the supplements at drjoe.com.
in furniture, electronics, and appliances.
Well, 10-minute show today.
Errands.
Well, we got this time together.
You got 10 minutes of health tips.
That's right.
Barbasol is
You can
making
give.
razors. Try the
So
Barbasol
probably like
Ultra
one.
6 Plus today. And by State Farm,
Well,
here to help life.
here's
go
your
right.
opportunity to talk as
to
fast as you
Agent
want.
A
That's
with
ooh,
State
ooh,
Farm.
ooh, ooh.
The executive producers of the Georgia Bulldogs Sports Network are Tom Stoltz and Tim Bernetti.
They got a long,
Associate
like,
producers
sign
Tom
off.
McDonald and
You what?
Chris Ferris.
Their sign off is so long.
I know. It's
Well,
like
it's also been like a 3-hour show, a 3.5-hour show.
Special thanks to the University of
I'm gonna do the whole show in 10 minutes. Watch me. Ahmad has faith in us. We can do it.
We need to count how many words per minute Dr. Joe can
Is an
say.
exclusive
Probably more than I can type.
of the Georgia Bulldogs Sports Network.
Now put your headsets on.
By IMG.
I don't think we'll take any callers. I don't think we'll have time for callers.
Yeah.
I'll call you.
Yeah, I know.
Can
The
sit
information
we
presented
go.
on this program is not intended to take the place of your personal physician's advice, and it is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Discuss this information with your own physician or healthcare provider to determine what is right for you.
True independence comes from feeling good and staying out of the doctor's office. Get stronger and healthier with Dr. Joe Esposito on News 95.5 and AM 750 WSB.
Hey folks, Dr. Joe Esposito here. We have 10 minutes of a 2-hour show. We get 10 minutes. So what I want to talk about real quick is cold and flu season. Obviously, we're in the middle of it. People are getting sick all the time. Let's talk about some tips that you can do to get well and stay well. And people always say to me all the time, well, Dr. Joe, when was the last time you were sick? I said, I can't remember. Because if you keep your body healthy, you're less likely to get sick. So here's a couple of things I want you to consider. Number one, you got to cut out the sugar. Now, when I say sugar, that's breads, cookies, cakes, donuts, pastas. Because here's what's happening. Everybody had Christmas. Everybody ate their cookies and cakes and their breads and their figgy puddings. And now everybody's starting to get sick because sugar weakens the immune system. In my book, Prescription for Extreme Health, we have a chapter on that. And if you drink just the sugar that's in one can of soda, one white blood cell can usually kill off about 14 pathogens before it dies. That same white blood cell, if you drink a can of soda, can now kill off one pathogen before it dies. So you're essentially 14 times weaker after having just one soda. So how many of you had cookies and cakes and raviolis and donuts and fruit cake? All these sugars that you ate really blew out your immune system, and that's why so many people are going to get sick this week. And then, of course, New Year's Eve, tomorrow night, people are going to drink again. What's alcohol? It's a sugar. You're going to have another wave of people getting sick the following week. So Got to cut back on the sugar, folks. You just have to do it to keep your immune system strong. Number 2, supplement-wise, I really, really, really want you to check your vitamin D levels. If you haven't had them checked, assume that they're low. And I would recommend 5,000 international units of vitamin D every day. If you go to my website, drjoe.com, one of our supplements is a vitamin D supplement, and it's 5 drops. Now, if you are sick, you can take 50,000 units of vitamin D, but you only want to take it for about 3 days and then go back to 5,000 units. That's going to help the immune system. Certain herbs, pau d'arco, olive leaf extract, suma root, these things can stimulate your immune system. We have something called Dr. Joe's Wellness Booster, and it's a liquid, and I take that every single day in the winter because I want to make sure my immune system is strong. Garlic is great if you're sick because garlic is antibiotic, antiviral, and antifungal. So if you're going to start eating a little more garlic, that's wonderful because it's going to help with the immune system. Now, cooking it will destroy some of the nutrients in it. So you want to take a garlic clove, put it through like a garlic press or smash it up, and just put it on a salad, put it in soup, and that works amazing. Years ago, I used to make this, I used to call it Dr. Joe's Golden Flu Tonic, which I can't call it that now. But it's ginger, horseradish, cayenne pepper, onion, and garlic, and we puree that in an apple cider vinegar. And then I used to let it ferment, and I'd have this big jar of it sitting on my counter, and I would just take a scoop of it every day. Oh, it was nasty. But I tell you what, if you have an infection, amazing for helping wipe out the infection. Now we put it in a bottle. It's called Dr. Joe's Seasonal Tonic, and that's something else. If you are sick, you might want to keep that on hand to keep your body healthy. I want you to have something raw at every meal. Now, when I say raw, broccoli, cucumbers, tomatoes, avocados, salad, because raw food has something in it called enzymes. And enzymes can help the immune system and also can attack viruses, germs, and bacteria. So supplements I take, and that's a question I get every single day. I don't think a day goes by in my life. Dr. Joe, what do you take? I take Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. They're 2 powders. They're on the website, drjoe.com. And they're the minimum amount of nutrients you should be taking every single day. So I take Super Greens, Essential Source, vitamin D, digestive enzymes if I eat a cooked meal. If I eat a raw meal, it has enzymes in it. I don't need to do that. But whenever I eat a cooked meal, I take Dr. Joe's digestive enzymes as well. If you've taken antibiotics, I had somebody come to me today and their little baby has a thrush infection. And what that is, excuse me, what that is like a white coating on the tongue. And I said to them, did the baby just have antibiotics? And they said, yes. So antibiotics can kill off the good bacteria in your colon, but it doesn't kill off the yeast. So all of us have yeast in our colon, and the yeast can then start to multiply in the colon and burrow little holes into your blood system, into the colon walls, get into the blood system, and then set up shop. And it sets up shop in warm, moist areas like the mouth, the vagina, the rectum, the armpits. And so many people have these yeast infections because they took antibiotics. Now, I'm not saying don't take the antibiotics. That's your call. I'm not your medical doctor. I'm not going to advise you on that. But what I suggested for this little baby was get her on Dr. Joe's probiotics. Now, a capsule is for an adult. I said give her about a quarter capsule. She's a little baby, she's just a few months old. And start getting those probiotics to start rebuilding the bacteria in her colon. And of course, the grandmother is a friend of mine, and she was very, very excited about that. And she said, thank you, because they were going to take her to the doctor and give her an anti-fungus medication, or anti-yeast in this case. And I'm not saying take it or don't take it. That's your call. You know, Natalie Merchant has a line in a song from 10,000 Maniacs, and the line is, he's your kid, do as you seem fit. So I never tell people what to do with their kids. I can just advise what I would do if it was my kid in that situation. So probiotics are very, very good. And if you've taken antibiotics, it's a good idea to start taking probiotics as well. And the reason we have these supplements is because these are the supplements that most people need. I've been in practice 35 years now, and so I know what most people need. So we have the standard supplement protocol, and that's all on the website, drjoe.com. But Super Greens, an essential source, minimum amount of nutrients every day. Vitamin D, absolutely positively. The Wellness Booster and the Seasonal Tonic, again, if you want to keep the immune system strong, and then the probiotics. And that's what you need to do to stay healthy. Here's another thing. Viruses do very well, they replicate very well in cold weather. This is one of the reasons why we get sick in the winter and not so much in the summer. So what you can do is raise your body temperature. Now, how would you do that? How about taking a hot bath? So if you take a hot bath, a hot shower, I have a steam shower, but get in there, raise your body temperature, because viruses die off when the temperature is high. That's why you get a fever when you have a viral infection. That's pretty neat. So if you want to raise your body temperature, you can create like essentially an artificial fever by getting in a hot bath, getting in a shower, getting the heat raised up. Keep your body warm. Stay in the blankets, of course, wear a hat. But when you raise your body temperature, it can start killing off the viruses as well, and it helps stimulate the immune system too. So many people suffer when they get a cold or the flu, and they don't know what to do. So here we, like I said, we only got a 10-minute show today, but I want to cover as much as I could in that 10-minute show. Now, as a chiropractor, my team of doctors also understand that when you adjust the spine, you can stimulate the immune system. So how do you know you need chiropractic care? If you have neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, numbness, tingling, headaches, if you've ever been in a car accident, ever, if the car was damaged, you were damaged 100% of the time. No one is stronger than a car, I promise you. So the sooner you get to us after an accident, whether it's a car accident, a sports injury, your back hurts, the sooner you get to us, the better off we're going to be. So if you want to make an appointment to come see us, you can go to my website, drjoe.com, and you can book it right online, or you can just call. The number's 844-44-Dr.Joe. That's usually the number you call into the show today, but we don't have time for callers today. And you can make an appointment. Make it for you, your friends, your family, and your children. I'm so excited. We have offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge. Our patients oftentimes bring their children in, and I love it. Because if kids start out healthy, they're most likely going to be healthier. So it's really important that you bring the kids in. We accept most insurances, car accidents, like I said, sports injuries, workers' comp. We want to work with you. We even take Medicare. I don't think there's any doctors around to take Medicare anymore. We even take Medicare. So stop suffering. If you have a health issue, go to our website, drjoe.com. All the supplements we talked about are on the website. If you have questions about it, call the office. If you want to come see us, we really want to be your doctors. And the biggest complaint I get from patients is, why didn't I do this sooner? I had this neck pain, this back pain, this numbness, this tingling, and they didn't get well. So if you want to go make an appointment, come see us at drjoe.com, and we can do that. Also on the website, we have over 1,000 hours of podcasts. So again, this is a quick show, but we have audios and videos there. If you have any questions, and we didn't get to questions today, send them through the website. I'm more than happy to answer your questions, but stop suffering needlessly. That's for you, your friends, and your family. Folks, I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. The website again, drjoe.com. The number to the offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge, 844-44-Dr.Joe. Hey, thanks for listening. We'll be back next week at 7 o'clock.
WSBB-FM Doraville.
Fastest show ever.
Turn that down. Let's sign off.
All right, folks, again, thank you so much on the social media platforms. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks for sharing this. Please share it with your friends. Follow us if you're on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, whatever it is. Follow us on the other platforms. If you have questions, send them to me through the website. And if you want to make an appointment to come see us, which you should, or get the supplements, drjoe.com. So, folks, thanks so much for being here. We'll catch you next week at 7 o'clock.
And Happy New Year.
And Happy New Year to everyone. That's right.